Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be. I am your humble host, Mr. David Null, also known as High Two Feathers. And forgive me while I forgot to set up the camera. I greet you, as always, with the love and the honor of the infinite creator. And I continue to pray that each and every one of you will learn to accept and receive the healing, the knowledge, the wisdom, and the blessings from the universe. There's a lot of stuff out there. Now, I had not planned on doing a video tonight, or today. Actually, it's after 12. So, but anyway, maybe I was planning on doing one on Saturday, but it may be in the evening. Anyway, greetings, Maverick, and hey, Teresa. Um, anyway, checking out the news and stuff, and I've been busy around the house today. I had a friend of mine that showed up that I had made arrangements to pay someone to come and help me if they would, and we got a lot done. I'm like tired, a good tired. I've got a lot done. Have burned a lot of things, a lot of stuff that need to get done, and I've been outside, burning and getting rid of things. I've got a lot of old wood that I was going to use for building things, and over the years, um, there's just been so many piles. A lot of the wood started to rot and termites got into some of the stuff. So I'm going through the wood. And because one of the things I'm working on is trying to get a part of my shed rebuilt. So uncovering the good wood is next in line for me to finish up the shed. Anyway, that's just a little update. But hey, Michelle, how are you? But in checking the news and things here just like recently, there's all this, you know, last few days, all these words about the Great Reset. Now, in my contemplation of it while I was, tending the fire outside tonight, and just pondering what does it mean, and what do they mean by this, and why all of a sudden they have started discussing it, because them folk got plans, right? They really look forward into the future as to what they plan on doing and what they are doing. So for many of us, well, I won't say many because I don't know how many folks have actually been listening in on some of this stuff, but for the last good 15 years, I've been checking in on channels that talk about, there's there was all the stuff about the Zimbabwe note and this thing and that thing, and there was going to be this great thing where everybody's going to get money back from the Vatican, and I mean, it just, oh, the government's going to do this, and there's all this money that's been hidden away, and Ronald Reagan supposedly started a fund that was supposed to help America to the tune of some kind of $2 or $3 trillion or more. But anyway, and that's supposed to be sitting in a fund somewhere. And there's a lot of evidence to that. But here's the point. So what's this reset about? Now, in some of the galactic news, it was, the aliens are going to come and they're going to show us this new thing, and it isn't going to be about money anymore. It's going to be like Star Trek. Well, even Star Trek, they have these little chips and their credits, right? So they get certain amount of credits. Now, what do the credits buy them, right? Well, if you're thinking about Deep Space Nine, you got this little chip and okay, so you get so many credits. Well, you can wager, you can get more credits, you can spend a lot of credits, but isn't that sort of like money? I mean, so even in this idea of the Star Trek thing, we have to exchange something for whatever we want of value. And I have had this reckoning, if you will, about money and situations and so forth. And I've talked about this, and I want to mention it again because I really do think it's important. And y'all do what you want to do. But when back 2 years ago, going on three, when Hurricane Michael came through and everything was shut down, well, the local dollar store and some of the other places that had a little bit of electricity, um, they would only deal with cash. So people who had all their money tied up in their card, and I've always got some cash around, maybe not a lot, but I've got some cash around because I've learned. Plus, I'm an old carny, and you always had a little, stash somewhere, just in case, right? And in the carny business, we called it HO money. It was holdout. So you hold out a little bit of money from whatever your bills, whatever you pay everything, right? But then you just take a certain percentage and you just hold it out. You bank it away. You put it in a piggy bank, whatever you do with it, right? Tape it to you can put it in an envelope and tape it to the bottom of a dresser drawer or something. That's what some folks used to do because when you're traveling around a lot, so people would look in the drawers, but they wouldn't look under the drawers. Just saying. So, but having cash, and so I have become more in the mind that every month I'm going to draw X amount of cash out of the bank. Now, I usually use my card everywhere I go, but say I take $40 out every month in cash, okay? Two $20 bills. So, but after 10 months, I've got $400, right? So it's like, I guess that's right. But anyway, but to the point though, but it's in cash. Okay. So if the system goes down in any way, so this great reset, because there's all this discussion about, well, COVID is on the money. So in order for us to really stop the COVID virus, then we need to take control of the money and we pull all the money back, right? Now it's been tossed around about the white hats are trying to take back the Federal Reserve and they're trying to get rid of the Federal Reserve, and that part of this plan is that the Federal Reserve will dissolve because it is not the federal government. Now, many of us know that, but there are a lot of folks who still don't. They think that the Federal Reserve is part of the government. It's not. It's a separate entity. And one of the reasons that JFK got murdered was because he had instructed the government he didn't want the Federal Reserve, right? So he started printing, silver certificates in real money back in the 60s. And that was one of the reasons they shot him. Okay. Because they were like, no, 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 no. And he was like, no, no, the money needs to be controlled by the government, printed by the government. And with that, and that the money in Fort Knox, it should be backed by something, right? So, but the Federal Reserve, they're just a bunch of guys printing dollar bills or whatever, and and it's not necessarily backed by anything. So the thing about, what, um, oh, I am not a crook, uh, President, well, I can't think of his name right now. Hey, Julianne, Teresa, Maverick in the house. Michelle, there's 7 of you folks. Anyway, no, I didn't plan this at all. It was just one of them, I was kind of sort of Nixon. Thank you, Maverick. Y'all win a prize. Yay. Nixon, golly, I could see his face. And I was like, oh, I am not a crook. Anyway, my little impression there for the night. But this idea of the reset, but Nixon, one of his reasons for going to China was to open up that market. But also during that time, they took away the gold standard and oil was then made the standard. So why is oil and why are we pumping oil and why do we continue and why are we still fracking and why? Well, give Americans jobs, but at the same point, the value of, quote, the American dollar is based upon petroleum. So, we got to keep making it. We got to keep drilling. We got to keep producing. Otherwise, the dollar ain't worth shit, right? So, because the reserve is in the reserves of oil. Anyway, so it was said that the Trump team and the White Hats wanted to go back to some kind of, value backed dollar, not something that, could run out, but literally, and they say that there is no gold in Fort Knox anymore. Don't know about that, but that's just an interesting statement. And that there was gold and this and that, that had been moved around and everything. Okay, so this reset, what would it mean? What would it mean to you and me? Well, if you've got a card, then it all turns digital. Blockchain, whatever the deal, right? It turns digital. So then money, they're going to try to make obsolete. So now this person that came to help me today, I paid in cash. So because I don't have a way to swipe a card here at the house to give her the money that I paid her to help me, right? So this idea, well, there are things like when I was a kid growing up, I made money. I made money by going around and mowing lawns for people, or doing yard work, or getting a limb off their house, or sweeping their roofs or something. I mean, that we were us little 10, 12, 13-year-old kids in the neighborhood. We were making money all kinds of different ways by doing chores for folk. And it was $2 or $3 here and there, but that's not the point. When you're 13 years old, 12 years old, especially back then, $3 was a lot of money. But anyway, I digress in that. So the value of time has changed, and the value of products made. So one of the things that has happened and will continue to happen as long as they've got this fiasco going on. Hey, Isby, did I say hi, Julianne? I hope so. Anyway, blessings to y'all. So in this, what could it mean to you? Well, if all of your assets are tied up in ones and zeros with your card, and what if that system, for whatever reason, like a hurricane that came through, it knocked out the electricity, which kept you from using any kind of banking system, anything. The electricity was out all over the place for days. So they were selling stuff, but only if you had cash. Now, people are saying, well, to look to the future, you should buy silver, and you should buy gold, and you can buy platinum. Okay, I want to reiterate this. If the system changes and you need to go to a local grocery store, even if it's a chain store, you try to go in there with gold, literally gold, or even a certificate, and you go, well, I got 10 pounds of gold sitting somewhere, and it's worth this much money, and the people are going to look at you and go, sorry, you got moolah, you got spare change, you got a roll of quarters, we'll talk, because that's still going to be of value, especially to us old timers. So my suggestion is you get some money, honey, and put it somewhere. Now, the larger the denominations, the harder it's going to be to exchange. So I'd say get some 10s and 20s. I mean, like in the carnival, we had, 5s, 10s, 20s, that kind of thing. So we could make change. And when we were running the cookhouse, we always had a certain amount of 20s, a certain amount of 10s. And there were times when we would run out of change and have to go, I need $100 worth of 10s. Here's some, here's 5 20s, go down to the ticket box of the office. Anyway, but if the system gets reset, and they're talking about it, okay, now the alien type folk have been talking about a reset for quite a number of years now. There has been those underpinnings of folks, Greg Hunter, and let's see, he's had several guests on, but Catherine Austin Fitts, that many of you know about, The Economist and so forth, and she writes the Solera report, and the guy up in New York, I love him. I can't think of his name right now. But anyway, he writes in Economist magazine as well. And they have all been talking for years that something has to reset because the system is so broken. Now, but what does that mean? Well, it's going to mean more to the people with, stocks and bonds and stuff like that to figure out what the value of something is. So, but let's take, for example, a lot of the businesses and stuff have been shut down. There are some businesses that are not even going to reopen. So the value of those companies, twink, their stock has dropped if their stock is worth anything at all. So that means that somebody who is solvent in the billionaire range can go in and sweep up these businesses, properties, and things like that. So they're going to be able to control more. Okay. Oh boy, ain't that nice? So the millionaires have had to give up because they couldn't stay in business because of this stuff. Now the billionaires are going to take it over. So they even have, and they might, sell it back to the millionaires. I know this is crazy, but this is sort of what they have planned. But the money isn't going to have any value. Where do if you got tons of gold or silver, like the silver certificates? I got a silver certificate upstairs. I moved it. The mice were eating the damn thing anyway. Chewed around the edges of my silver certificate, that was made in like 63. Anyway, so what could this reset mean for you? It could mean that your purchasing power in any way, shape, or form could, I'm going to say this, could be drastically reduced, especially if the value of the ones and zeros on your card, the dollars, what's it going to mean? So if the billionaires, if all them folks who are controlling this nonsense, and supposedly ET, we got to keep that in mind because they've been talking about it for at least 10 years now, ET folks and back channels and stuff, and the white hats are doing this, and we're all going to go back to we're going to get rid of the Federal Reserve. Okay. So what could happen? Could that mean that they want to get rid of the Federal Reserve and the United States start printing its own money? It won't say federal on it at all. It'll say something else. Now, a couple of years ago, it was stated that that was one of the things Trump was trying to do, and the white hats and those kind of folks, was take control of the money, which is the hands of private billionaires across the planet. And that's called the Federal Reserve. It's a banking system. It ain't the U.S. government. They want to put it back in the hands of the government if it's supposed to be a dollar bill. You know what I mean? So the dollar bill has been called fiat money. It's printed by a company, not by the government. So, Canada, now I'm not sure about this, but I'm going to pick on Canada for a minute. So, the Canadians up there, good folk. I've been to Canada several times, and I've met some really good folk up there. I think they're crazy for staying up in the snow all the time, but that's there are people who like living in igloos. So anyway, to each his own, right? But if their money is, I'm not sure if this is true, but if their money is like the Queen's money, then the pound or the whatever their dollar is up there, it's backed by something that is owned by the government, not by a private bank. Why is this important? Because even if you have their fiat money, if the reset comes about to where they say, well, we're not going to print any more money, we're going to start collecting the dollars because of the virus, but they actually just want to take it all back so that we are reliant upon the ones and the zeros. And that's what we should be concerned about. Is this where we want to allow our whatever fortunes we have? I mean, I got a couple of $100 in the bank. That's my fortune. Okay. That's what's left over from my check last month or this month, right? What I haven't spent. So I got to fix the truck. I got to do some things, but I have to save that money. I got to hold it. I got to hold on to it, but do I trust the bank to hold all of it, especially after that hurricane, knowing that if it could just be an electrical outage. But how many times have they been talking about an EMP? In the news again are two sunspots that are going to be Earth facing, and there's a good possibility that one of them could send in a CME our direction, coronal mass ejection. And so that could disrupt the satellites. It could give an EMP to the power grid. We all know what that scenario is. So, but if you're reliant on this electronic thing and it goes down for whatever the reason, then you're stuck with zero. You have nothing. You have there, unless you've got a way to be able to barter, you're sunk. So what should you do? At least have some fiat money on hand, because other people will still trade it. Okay. I mean, way back in the day during the Civil War, there was the Confederate note, and there was supposed to be gold back. It was supposed they tried their best to back it with gold so it was actually worth something. But they printed it on faith with the Confederate people that it was worth something. Okay. And so, and even right after the war, there was a period of time where some folks were still accepting the Confederate dollar. But you could turn in 2 or 3 Confederate dollars for one US dollar, but it still had a value, you see. But if you don't have anything to exchange, what are you going to do? There goes your purchasing power. So what does the reset mean to us? What could it mean to us? Well, the reset could mean that they want to go back to the government-backed thing. Now, here's the interesting part. Other countries and the UN and I can't remember that, some world, economic council thing, they're talking about the Great Reset, not just in America, but across the planet. Now, I seriously doubt that China's involved. I would seriously doubt that Moscow and Russia is involved, because over the last several years, Putin and the Russians have been actually making the ruble, which is the Russian, equivalent of the dollar. From what I understand, I'm not positive, but but anyway, I think that it actually had value on a world market. It has value within Russia, but the world economic organizations wouldn't recognize the ruble as having value, just like they kept China out of the world thing for a long time, and they wouldn't allow the yuan to have any world value. You had to have so many to make a dollar. Now it's like, the yuan's worth a lot because China's doing this and that anyway. But that's all part of the reset. You understand? This is all part of the game. So those folk who all the EU folk, they're all in on this. So, France and Spain and Denmark and Italy and all them folks, see, Switzerland, Denmark, Norway, anybody that's in the EU. So their reset is going to be whatever our reset is, which is going to include Mexico and South America and parts of Africa, because a lot of those areas are influenced by, England and France and the United States and other countries, right? So, but what are these bastards up to? I mean, let's be serious. So they want to get rid of the dollar. Okay, we would have to learn to live with it. But I absolutely believe that people will find, quote, money in some other way. But having a bunch of gold in your hands is not going to be any value, because no one's going to be able to convert it for you. Okay, that's the issue. Will it have value? Yeah, but you're going to have to trade it in for something that you can exchange. Okay. unless you stamp out your own coins and you weigh, you weigh your own gold into pieces, so you can say, well, here's a quarter, here's 4 grams of gold and it's worth this on the market. But who in a small store is going to go, well, I don't care about the market, this gold doesn't do me any good, I need them little pieces of paper. That's of value to me. And I've noticed it in a lot of different areas. I mean, travel around back in the 60s and 70s and the 80s with the carnival and going to different towns and things, and how people barter and exchange money and stuff. So in my travels, have seen how people exchange stuff on a local level. So any paper money would still be of value locally. But a piece of gold is not going to get you a chicken dinner. It just isn't, right? So I'm being told, hey Dave, make sure you got some cash, you know, and as much as you think is necessary or whatever, and have a good hiding place, don't put it all in one spot, if you have a safe, well, then put some in there, but then also stash some in over here and a little over there in a book on a shelf somewhere. And but for God's sake, don't forget. But back in the day, I'd stick $20 in a book up in my upstairs in my bedroom, my big bookshelf. And then I'd get a little extra money. I'd take $10, shove it in the book. So then when hard times came, which back then was really frequent, I'd go in the book and I'd look and, oh my God, I stuck a 20 in between these 2 pages. Man, and I need $18, holy cow, thank goodness for me. But I could have traded stuff, sold power tools, and things, went to the pawn shop to get money, so I could exchange it for, food or whatever, gasoline. So having it, is like, oh my God, this is better than gold, because I've got thousands of dollars worth of tools, but you're only going to get a couple of bucks on if you try to barter with someone about it and say, well, but I paid $150 for this miter saw. Well, I'll give you $35 for it. What? Yeah, that's how it goes, right? So, and especially if they have to pawn it. So, it's 1/3 its original value, even if there's nothing wrong with it. And if it's got some age on it, well, they'll give you $20 on a pawn, or whatever. You might be able to sell it for $25, maybe, if you know somebody. But to the point though, so what is of value? Now I have tools. The things that I have purchased over the years has been tools, because if the economy goes down, I can trade tools. Okay, might not get a lot for it, but if somebody needs a wrench or a this or a that, or something to work on, I can help in that, with a repair, or because I have the tools. Okay. And if I'm unable to use those tools, I can trade them in and barter with them or pawn them or something. So they will have a value, maybe not the same, but it will have a value. But if you're buying Zim notes and stuff like that, like a lot of these people, did, and they've been, ET's going to come, and that their reset is going to make everything so that, everybody's happy and everybody's comfortable. And, that shit ain't happened yet. But for the major mainstream news and all across the planet, they're talking about this, the Great Reset. Should we be afraid? I don't know. Because I think now I know y'all have, live in different places and apartments and stuff. I planned on this years ago. I knew this shit was going to happen. So I've got my piece of property and I've got some seeds and I know how to do this, that, and the other thing. But for folks who don't know what I know, I don't know what they're going to do, and if you think the people, well, I'm going to drive to the country and live off the land, you're going to die. You are gonna die because there's just not stuff unless you shoot a farmer's cow or something like that, you're gonna die. Because even for those of us who live out here in the country, it's tough and we know how to get by on damn near next to nothing. But for somebody that doesn't have the practice that we have had, you're going to die. I'm sorry, especially if you have no resources. So, my suggestion and my higher whatever is there, like, tell these people to make sure they got some cash on hand. And, if there's a way for us to resist this, quote, reset, which we probably can't, we can at least voice our opinions and go, listen, I don't want you to take money away for whatever reason. Just say no. And here's the simple answer, because if electricity ever goes out, I can't buy groceries. That's the answer. It doesn't have to be a big explanation. But if somebody says, well, why are you against, no, I think we should keep the dollar, even if it is the Federal Reserve, because at least it's recognized between us. But this idea of taking the money away and that it's all going to be digital, we have to say no to this. We really do. If somebody asks your opinion, say, I'm sorry, but I remember when the lights went out and I couldn't use my card. That's the answer. So in those cases, I want cash. I want something in my hand, and I think everybody should. Now, I'm going to get off of that, but there have really hollered in my ears for y'all to listen to what I'm saying. Am I right about this? If the electricity goes off, you're going to go, some bitch Dave was right. God damn, I wish I'd have listened to him. Okay. I know folks around here during the hurricane, and I mean, it was 10 days before some places got electricity back. So, you couldn't buy it. Cash was still good. So old Mr. Dave had cash on hand. And I didn't need a lot from the store, but, I had cash on hand where other people didn't, So does it matter? Yes, experience says. All right. Ask anybody who's been through a tornado zone or through a hurricane or whatever. Well, I got my bank card. Sorry, can't help you. You got cash? I got a fishing pole. Well, that's worth $5. Okay, maybe, Anyway, but moving on. So the alien influence. Now, I've just been watching and listening, okay, for quite a while now on different channels and subjects and things. And a lot of these folks who started out with channels talking about the Great Reset and all this other stuff, and there's another word for it, but anyway, is tied in with the event, and we're getting these cosmic rays, and when they hit us, then the aliens are going to show up, and everybody's going to feel different, and they're going to show us a better way to exchange money or whatever, and we won't have to worry about food because we'll have replicators and we'll have this and that. Okay, fine. Ain't none of that shit happened yet, right, folks? I mean, now there's some strange signs in different places, but for those of us who have been watching this for 10, 12, 15 years, ain't none of that stuff happened. But now, to my point, but now everybody's talking about the Great Reset. I don't know what is up, but something's up, because they will warn us in all kinds of different ways. And then it somehow starts coming out in the news. That's the plan. They do this to us. So they're warning us, they're telling us the reset, whatever they got in mind, is coming. And that every single one of us better knuckle down, buckle down, and do it, do it, do it. Because you can't roller skate in a buffalo herd. You can't roller skate in a buffalo herd. No, you can't roller skate in the buffalo herd. Roger Miller, back in the 60s. But you can be happy if you a mind to. All you got to do, knuckle down, buckle down, do it, do it, do it. You can't change film with the kid on your back. Anyway, sorry about that little musical interlude, just for you, Michelle, if you're still there. um, but anyway, so what could this mean for us? So if any of this is resulting into what some of these quote higher authorities have talked about for a long time, it could be tied into them. Could be. That's just a, could be a lot of more, things in the skies that people are looking at. And a lot of people are going, I think that's real. That's not a fake. That's not Photoshop, because I saw something like that the other day, talking people in and out of this stuff. So the idea that aliens exist, pretty much all of us are convinced that they do, right? I'm like, yeah, I'm probably in a different category than a lot of other people, because I accepted it a long time ago that that influence has been there and will be here for a long time in the future. But anyway, so we look at Trump and we look at Biden and we look at all these other weird world leaders. How about that one? But all these folk are still, they got up, they are not the boss. They've got higher authorities above them who are trying to control this whole mess, and have been for, one figure is that, it goes back before the Egyptians. That's how long they have been in control. How they've been manipulating, gold and diamonds and furs and whatever was important, and slavery, of course, which is still going on. So, for those of us who are awake and aware and can see there's something up, we must consider this higher, them folk up yonder. Not so much that they're looking out for our best benefit, but that it was preached for 10 years easy about that it was going to happen. That this thing, and it was going to be worldwide and everybody was going to know about it. But it's going to be, and to me, this could be the alien deception, in that some of these back channels and everything that I've been listening to, at one point I was like, yeah, this is going to happen. And then later on, I started keeping my mouth shut going, let's watch this and see what happens. And there were people that I highly respected back in the day who dropped out because they said their quote, alien contacts had given them false information, and they were not going to communicate with them anymore. They weren't going to communicate with the public anymore. They weren't going to talk about aliens anymore. They weren't going to talk about any of it anymore. And they quit. Several people back several years ago. And it's not that their YouTube channels went down. They said, you guys told us. I gave my word upon my honor. This is what they said. Meaning the aliens, right? This is what they told me, and they want me to relate this to you. And then when it didn't happen, and it didn't happen, and it didn't happen, many people said, I ain't saying another word, because y'all making me look like a fool. So now, is that part of the alien deception? Was there contacts in some weird way, maybe voice to skull, or was it the bad aliens that they were channeled into, or that they were receiving information from? Because a few months ago, I had to go back in and recheck my connection, because there I was getting false information, and maybe some of you remember that, but there was somebody here that interfered with that. And I think some of the false information was coming in by a side channel, just to put that down. I don't want to go into that anymore, but I've had to recheck myself several times over the many years. And several years ago, about 7 or 8 years ago, there was a message that went out to shamans and medicine people. And they said, listen, stop doing ceremonies. You just need to not do it. And everybody looked at each other and said, "What the hell are you talking about?" And because within the community, they understood there was something really big and nasty under the surface, if you will, not necessarily in under the ground, under the surface, but spiritually. And so they were telling shamans and medicine people were telling each other and passing the word along because, and I have mentioned this before, they didn't want their ceremonies to be hijacked. And, I spoke about the black goo the other night in the middle of a video, but there are reports that the Gulf oil spill was not a spill. It was planned on purpose, and it let out a very nasty entity that has been locked in the earth for a long time, and it's been let out. And even the Pope spoke about it recently. So there are folks in high powers that understand a higher sense of this. So there is an evil that's out there that's just plumb nasty. So, and now that, and since it's been released and the Pope has made reference and there are comments about this, and now the Great Reset, and now all of this chaos, and we're all locked up in our homes, and we can't share Thanksgiving. Me and Doug are going to have Thanksgiving. The hell with it. I don't mean the hell with you folk, but the hell with everybody else. And neither one of us are wearing a mask, and I'll be damned if we're going to be 6 foot apart. But anyway, um, Duggar and I had a good time in the woods this evening. Went down there, and I'm trying to get him, since it's cooler now, and I can't necessarily walk any better, but it's a lot cooler and easier for me to walk. But there are a couple of places where my trails, trees of, during the hurricane a couple of years ago, there are trees that are crossing paths and things and stuff. So a lot of changes in the woods here. And so I was looking for another way to get down the property line without having to get the chainsaw out, right? So anyway, Duggar and I were down there and trimming some limbs and, vines and stuff, and just, making a way so I can get through the trees. And there's some really pretty spots down there that I haven't been able to get to in the last 2 years because of stuff downed around it. Anyway, but he was real good in hanging out with me and not running off too much. So that's the lesson there. But anyway, back to the reset thing. So there are many levels to this reset thing. So people say, well, it's just money. It isn't. Okay. They have other plans in mind about what they mean by the reset. And whether or not to eat, I hold my hands up and go, am I sure about the ET? Don't know. But I do know that they've been talking about it for a long time. That's what we need to keep in the equation. Could they be involved? You damn right, because, Trump's plane has been seen with a Mater spaceship around it several times. So, yeah, he's being protected by this particular group. And it ain't the good guys. It's one of the bad sides, so many of us have known for a while that he's just, it would be like lizard people against a humanoid type person. So, and the Flash are like lizards, okay? And the others, and they could be like Romulans or something. But anyway, they both hate each other just as bad as, So, but at the same time, they both hate us. So, but with that, there is definite evidence that we are being, controlled or manipulated by some other power other than just the Democrats and or the Republicans. So with that in mind, we have to understand, and the Vatican, they're in that sect all by themselves. And there are a lot of priests and folks that are distancing themselves from the Pope. Okay. And there are folks who are saying that his days are numbered. Now, I don't know what they mean by that, but there are folks saying that, that, fake Francis um, is not going to be the Pope much longer. We'll see. But there are other Catholic scholars who, would like to have the church back the way it was. At least partially, back to when I was growing up in the 60s when they first turned the altar around, kind of thing. So the movement is to let's go back to traditional Catholicism and screw all this mumbo jumbo that they've done now. Last time I went to a mass, which has been quite a few years ago, I didn't even recognize it. I was like, I'm not in a Catholic church. What the hell is this? I had to leave. I couldn't stay for the whole service. And so it was just so wrong to me in so many ways. But anyway, so, but the fact that the Vatican has, called this entity by name, the one that was released in the Gulf, and that we have to pay service to her, what? So this great reset could very well be tied into this, this nasty black goo type entity. Where would this take us? I think we should be very careful. So this idea of, well, what about my future? Well, if you're putting your future and betting on things that you can't trade or that you can't eat or that you can, a shovel is a shovel. And you say, well, what's that got so big deal? Well, if somebody doesn't have a shovel and they're trying to plant a garden, that shovel just became worth $1 million. Okay. So, a good hoe, a good this, and especially for folks who don't know how to make anything on their own. But if you don't have certain basic tools and they want to reset everything, then there's going to be a lot of people that's just going to be like, I wasn't counting on this. Well, we know that they still got something in the works. Why? Because they're pushing. Oh, the cases have gone up. Oh, it went from 20 to 25. Has anybody died? Well, no, but we have more cases reported. Well, they also have more cases reported of getting false positives from the test. So these people who are being tested, are they being retested? I mean, the football players and all them, them folk, if they get test positive, they wait a couple hours and they go and they test them again. And there has been several, blurbs out there that this one person went to the same person. They used the same brand of test, and 2 were positive and 2 were negative in the course of 2 days. So it's like, so we have to take that into consideration too, because they started mass producing these things. And I would really like to know what they're, having worked in various manufacturing areas, there's a quality check. How do you check to see if whatever thing is the test is actually really there or going to be there? What is their safeguard that, the test they're using is accurate? Well, they're saying that in some instances, there is as much as a 50% false positive. Okay. So are they controlling it? But here, I think it's just because they're being mass produced so quickly and they want them so fast. Well, yeah, but we got 20% of these. We're not sure if they're send them out. Send them out. We got to get them out. We need them. We need them. Been there, done that in different areas of manufacturing. But the numbers are coming in, and my doctor down in Quitman, she had said, we're getting false positives from people. Not everybody that tests positive has actually got the flu virus. Just saying, So we have to understand, but here's the thing, they're talking about the next wave, how bad everything's going to be, and we can't see each other during Thanksgiving, when and Christmas is up for grabs, and only 40% of the people can go to a church, and you can't have more than so many people outside. Listen, y'all want to get together, come to my house. We'll lock the freaking gate and dare somebody to come down here and get us. I'm just saying, we should have 50 people here, and I don't, the neighbors might mind, but who's going to come and arrest us all? But anyway, but so this reset, what could they be resetting? What, let's just, say hi to everybody, say hi to Bob, the AI, and cheers. It's half milk and coffee. I didn't make a fresh pot, but finished up the bottom. So we know they want to reset the money. Reset it to what? Well, reset it to a different value. Well, what value is that? It's the value that they're going to determine. So, but if you have a dollar, even if it's a Confederate dollar, it will be worth something for a period of time. So, me and my old ways, I really don't want to go digital. I have my card and my number. I can access it here. I can go punch in the thing, and okay. But I also have a checkbook. So if my card doesn't work, I can write a check. How many people still have a checkbook? Me, Why? Because sometimes those little thingamajiggies don't work. So, but your card doesn't work in my machine. Well, do you have cash? No. Well, can I write a check? Yeah, sure. No problem. Okay. And you're there. So even paper checks are still of value. And yeah, okay, the numbers are in a machine somewhere and those are digits. Okay, but it's not the card. So a lot of places you could still get by with writing a check. All right. Now they may not be able to verify it, but like for me, the people know me in the stores. Okay. And if they say, look, I forgot my card and I don't have, can I write a check? They're going to go, yeah, okay. They know me. I've been going to these stores for a while. So that's one thing that I would also tell you. Become familiar with whoever you buy from. And if you buy from a bunch of different stores, pick one. Pick one that you like the best, regardless of what it is, and get to know people in the store. Hi, Jim. How you doing today? He works in the produce department. Sally's one of the cashiers. Call them by name and look at their tag, because then they will remember you. So if something ever happens in the future, you will know people who work in the store. It makes a difference. If you go in there and try to write a check and somebody, I don't know who you are. Well, you've never come in here before. Now, if you go over to Jane's register and she goes, oh, hi, Mr. Dave, how you doing? Listen, I don't have a card. Can I write it? Yeah, go ahead. Boom. And it's there, So there are things that we can do, but we need to think ahead. We need to make sure we got some checks, because those will still be valid for a period of time, because they will represent the digits. You follow me? Whether the card works or not, you see. So we have to be careful and plan on, well, I live in the city, I live in an apartment, a shovel ain't going to do me no good, or whatever. Okay, then find out what is necessary in your life, or something that you could utilize, and get it. You've got a few people in your apartment complex and you all think together. And if things get really weird, y'all could plant a garden together. So somebody's got a rake, somebody's got a shovel, somebody's got a this, somebody's got, so, and we're going to have, for people who live on top of one another, you're going to have to start thinking that way. Get to know your neighbors. Okay. Why is that important? Because if the money goes south and things get weird, you better know who your neighbors are. Okay. And you better be able to talk to them. Even if you don't like each other, you can still have a conversation. But if you've never met and there's only um, a shared doubt, you don't trust them, they don't trust you, you know, the least you could do is introduce yourself. You say, well, Mr. Dave, why the hell is this important about the reset? Because if they reset it to a point where we're all looking around and we got our one of our thumbs up our butt, maybe both, who knows? That we better know who our neighbors are because we may need them. We may need to know who they are. They bad, they good, could we get along in a bad situation, And it's amazing what tragedy will do to bring folks together. But wouldn't it be nice if you knew someone ahead of time, at least in passing, and you knew their name? Because if they try to reset certain things, their idea of this is transhumanism. You know it. Okay. So this reset could be that they want to reset humanity to more of being a transhuman person. I mean, people. I just can't believe it. People who sit with their device and turn the heater up and down, and they're turning lights on and off and stuff. Get your lazy ass up and go turn the thermostat down. Get your lazy ass up and go turn on or turn off a light. Oh my God. Well, I can do it from the comfort of my couch. Get your lazy ass up because you may have to in the future. Now, all of us are hoping that the nasty weirdness and quote this reset isn't going to be a catastrophe. But you got to stop and think, is it really going to be good? Why do they feel they have to reset? What are they going to reset? You know? Who is making these decisions that there should be a reset at all? And what are their predictions as to what they're trying to achieve after the reset? Ain't nobody saying that, you know what I'm saying? So, in looking through the news and stuff like that, this is what we need to do, each and every one of us. We need to keep an eye on what the hell they're discussing about this great event. Okay, event here. Now, I said that, but they're making, this great reset is going to be this big event. What? Oh, and we got cosmic waves that are, where there's supposed to be a big cosmic wave coming in that's going to kind of crash over the earth, kind of thing. And nobody knows what the hell is going to happen with that. So if there's this reset that they're talking about, and there's this cosmic wave we're not sure about, but we are getting bombarded by stuff, and the sun is turning with some sunspots going to be aimed at us. Is this a coincidence? Is this synchronicity? Is this part of their plan kind of deal? We should keep an eye on it. Because I know, like cleaning up around here, I know that I've been in sort of a funk for a few days this last weekend kind of thing. Of course, I busted my ass for a couple of days too, and my back hurt, and that just put me down. But anyway, so I'm all, that was my excuse. No, my excuse was I was actually, let's be honest, I was feeling the pressure of everybody else's anxiety, of the world's chaos. And that's why I did that video the other night. Because of that, I could feel, all this weirdness within the quantum, and that this chaos, the confusion is even more confusing now, right? Anyway. So where do we go from here? We go from here with a hawk eye point of view. We need to keep an eye on whatever it is and understand that there are all of these different levels that have been discussed for quite some time having to do with a reset. Now, I'm going to hope for the best, but usually when the folks that are talking about this, oh, for example, there are folks who are saying the UN needs to have more control over countries. So everyone is doing the same thing. What? No, we're supposed to be different, damn it. You know, no. And so we can say no to this. We can there I was listening to the Remnant channel, and it's sort of a Catholic based thing, but they're religious up to the point, but they're saying, look at all this other craziness. For example, in uh, somewhere up north, Minnesota or anywhere, Wisconsin, I'm not sure, is going to have a no mask protest tomorrow, supposedly, or this weekend. And they're supposed to go like to the governor's mansion or something. And so folks are just going to go and say no to mask. People have had enough. So how do we show our disdain for things? We just say, well, you better wear a mask. And you say, no, it's stupid, it's dumb, or whatever. And you say, no, I'm saying no to this. This is where I've crossed, Now, if the grocery store it refuses to let you in and you need groceries, okay. But in any other situation or whatever, they're talking about in places where they have the virus police going out. And if they knock on your door and if you don't have a mask on, they can bust you. What? Seriously. And they're trying to get this and thank God there are decent folks. DeSantis of Florida, just south of me, right? I can go, 90 miles, well, 70 miles south and actually 50 miles south, and I'd be in Florida. So, if they want to get me for something, I'm going to Florida. It's just down the way here because at least them folks aren't going batshit crazy, So I'm glad that there are folks who are standing up. There are folks in Denmark, there are folks in Germany who are all standing up and saying, this is stupid. And now you want to tell us we can't get together for Thanksgiving? Whether I practiced it or not, you telling me no is pissing me off, right? That's how, and it is pissing folks off. So, but with this is part of the reset, though. You see, it's tied in with it because they've got us all controlled. They've got masked police that are going to go around and knock on your door and rat on you. They're gonna arrest a bunch of. There's 15 people at a party, at a Thanksgiving dinner, and the COVID folks show up and knock on the door and go, okay, where's your mask? And there's too many people. I dare them to say, you're going to arrest all of us. You're going to arrest grandma over there in the corner. You're going to arrest little Jimmy sitting there eating his pumpkin pie. Are you serious? And let's see how this goes. Let's see if the police are going to come out. And if everybody on a whole street, go talk to your neighbor and say, look, you invite 20 people. I'm going to invite 20 people. Let my neighbor. And if they come and knock on our doors, they're going to have to arrest the whole flipping neighborhood. That's how we say no to this stuff. That's how we show our disdain for this. But here's the thing, and we all agree with this, in that in some situations, folks are going to be sticking their neck out. But if you're just going to be mamby-pamby about it, then shut up, go in the corner. I don't mean to be rude, but shut up, go over in the corner and just don't talk about it anymore, because then you haven't had enough of this. That's the point. If you've had enough, you're going to say, no, I'm not wearing a mask. I'm going to invite who I want to my Thanksgiving dinner. It's their choice to come. No, we're not going to stay 6 feet apart in my house. That's stupid and ridiculous. Aunt Jane's sitting over here in the corner near the basement stairs because we don't have enough 6-foot space to get everybody in the house. It's a small apartment. Come on. So some of this stuff is just beyond ridiculous. But do we accept it, or do we show our disdain? Now, I would say that here's the thing we need to be civil about this, okay? Well, I ain't, you know, if somebody goes in there and go, I ain't wearing my fucking mask, and you could calm down. You just say, I'm sorry, no, I'm not wearing a mask. Don't get, obnoxious and don't use profanity. Just say, I'm not wearing it. Well, you could say, I ain't wearing a damn thing, but stay away from all these other things because that's just going to piss the other folk off. Okay. And if it's in a situation where they're going to arrest your ass, well, I mean, if they're come in and try to arrest the whole family or whatever on Thanksgiving, here's the thing though. If I would still say, sorry, I ain't putting on a mask. You know, take me to jail. I've been to jail before, so is it a big deal for me? I don't really want to go, but I've been there, done that, and to be put in jail for no mask, I'll go for that. I was busted for weed and for narcotics. I'm no mask, walk in the park for me. Anyway. But from listening into my higher self, folks, and for those of you who may come in a little late, make sure you have cash on hand. Make sure you at least have a checkbook for those of you who still know what those things are. Ray of Thoth, hi, how are you? Good to see you. Isby, and same back to you. Love and honor to all of you as well. Maverick says, first wrong door ends up them in stitches that are right for the snitches. There you go. And that, hey, Amanda, how are you? And Maverick, I think I've been listening to the Blaze here recently. Hey, Katniss, how are you? Good to see you. Yeah, it is good morning, isn't it? Oh man, I've been doing this for an hour. Man, just time goes quick for me. I think a few brains need to be set. Yeah. Maverick, the test is contaminated the original sample from patient 0. Okay. Teresa's gone. Nighty night, Teresa. Delaney, how are you? But anyway, I just sort of kind of felt compelled to have this discussion. I try to stay out of politics and things, but when this is moved out of politics into the woo-woo realm for me, okay, because all these back channels have been talking about this reset thing for quite a while, and now that it's being announced on worldwide news, that to me is like somebody's smacking me in the head with a big bell going, wake up, ding 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 ding. But what does it mean? But I think we should be cautious, and for those of us who don't have much, make sure you got enough of whatever you don't have much of. Make sure you're secure in your spot. And at the same time, don't be fearful, but start looking for options. I don't know your individual situations, but if you're really used to using your card all the time, and you don't have $10 worth of change or money, you need to change that. Trust me on that, because you can always spend it. It's not going to go anywhere unless you lose it. But to the point though, but it's a safeguard in case. So my grandma and my family is like, always have something in the house put back. What if the bank burns down? What if, but anyway, to the point though, having a little cash stash is not a bad idea. And they're like jumping up and down screaming, tell them they really need to do this. This is important. Okay. I'm done talking about that. Okay. So one of the other things that was discussed about this monetarily was that silver was going to get reset. that the price of silver was going to triple. So if you were going to buy something, I would buy some old silver, some not silver plated, make sure it's real silver, but buy some silver, buy a silver tea set, buy some, buy some old silver coins, something that actually has a value. You could trade. Well, I've got this silver teapot. Well, that's worth some money. Because people can see value in that, right? And you could melt it down and make coins, or you could make bullets for vampires, and werewolves. But um, the idea, though, that something like that would have a value because you could melt it down, whereas a diamond just turns into a rock, you know. The diamond won't be worth anything, but the gold or silver holding the diamond will be more worth than the diamond, because the diamond is a preset value created by man. Ooh, this is a rock. We polished it up, and this is worth $1,000. But when, if some kind of weird reset happens, does that diamond ring still have a value? Because the person you may be trading it to, they're not a jeweler. So they look at it and go, well, this just looks like a freaking piece of glass to me. I'll give you $20 for for the ring. You can keep the diamond. It's no value to me because it's just a stone. So they only have value to those people who think they have value. So in this reset, could this reset include, like the price of a diamond? It's like, we're wiping this out. Then there's a lot of bad things that, about blood diamonds and people and slaves and so forth that dig the diamonds and all. That's not a good thing, right? So, but who makes them of value? It's the people who sell them that make that create the value. You know what I mean? Ooh, it's a diamond. Why? Because somebody said somewhere that it's valuable. Well, the only thing it's really good for is cutting glass. And so where is the value in that? In something to trade. So, but now I had a friend of mine who he invested in jewelry. He would go to different jewelry stores because if a ruby or even if it is a diamond, he knew that he could resell it. Now that had to do with, that was his investment versus buying stock in a company. Okay, he bought jewelry and he was really good at it. So over the years, if he needed to sell a piece up here, an estate sale, he'd go to these estate sales down here in the South, and he could pick up all kinds of really nice, rings and things, especially the stones in them, for a third of what they're priced. So he'd go back down to Tampa and he'd show off his rings, and somebody, well, I'll give you $1,000 for that. And he paid 150 for it at an estate sale. Sold, I'll take the money. I don't like that ring that much anyway. And, Chucky was always telling me about the deals that he made he would show me the stuff that he bought during the summer when I worked on the carnival. And then in the wintertime, he'd go back home. And then back when the season, they'd come back up here to Georgia. I'd go visit and work with him and all. And he'd go, you remember that ring I showed you? He said, I got, $1,500 for that ring. And I paid $200 for it at the pawn shop in Moultrie. And I'm like, no shit. Yeah. You just have to know, it looked like a piece of cut glass, but it was a big emerald. And I was like, really? So anyway, but if you don't know what you're looking at, then it doesn't really have a value. But a paper bill that we all accept, there I am back to talking about the damn dollar again, But I mean, all these other things that you could invest in, can you trade them in? Is it worth, what is it worth? Well, it's worth $1,000 to who? Well, they said it is. Okay, if they ain't there, or if they reset that price of diamonds and now they're only worth $10, you go, well, what happened? I bought this thing. I paid $2,000 for this ring. Yeah, well, it's worth $20 now. What? But what happened to the value? If they reset things, it could also mean the value of certain things. Okay? Because those things are established by people. So if I sell a cord of split um, firewood, I establish my price on how much gas I use with my chainsaw, how long did it take, blah 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 blah. If do I deliver it? Is it a full load? The value for me to the people is they go, well, I'll give you $40. You go, sorry, I ain't selling it for that. Why? Because I got $40 worth of labor and gas, and there's got to be a profit in there. I ain't doing this for free, for my health. And for many years, I got through the winters by selling firewood. And so make $40, $50, but now in certain places, a truckload of firewood is $100. What? But now with this new Green Deal, you're not going to, in your nice fancy fireplace, you're not going to be allowed to burn wood in your fireplace anymore because it makes smoke. Well, yeah, but that kind of smoke, the plants like it. It's, in that carbon dioxide area thing. Anyway, so, but, and we're going to keep cows from farting. We're going to give them some kind of pill. But in this reset, understand that it could be the value of things. It could be the value of property values. There are a lot of things that are way overpriced, and they just need to be reset. Well, but there's a house down here that's worth $1.5 million, and I look at it and go, who says? Well, it's a 2-story and it's brick and it's got a carport and it's got a garage. So who says it's worth $1.5 million? It's a 2-story brick house. Oh, well, they got an in-ground pool. Okay, so this is Moultrie, Georgia. How do you get a house, a 2-story brick house that is now worth, you're telling me its value is a 1.5 million? This is not flipping Hollywood. And they have done that to houses around here. And I'm like, who set this? Oh, well, the national standard for this kind of house and blah, blah, blah. Oh, bend over, sorry, but it ain't worth $1.5 million. It just ain't, it might have cost 250,000 total to build. It ain't worth 1.5 million, maybe 500,000, not 1.5. Well, these people own it and they're prestigious and they want it to be worth 1.5 million. Oh, they got to pay taxes on it, but it means it's more prestigious if their house is worth over $1 million. There's some houses down in Thomasville. 20 years back, you could have bought the place for 125,000. Now you can't buy it for 900,000. Same street, no yard, barely a driveway, 1 or 2 cars, and they turn them into bed and breakfast, and all of a sudden they're worth $900,000. Why? Because some northerners, but moved down here to open this up. They spent some money, repainted it, refurbished it, spent $100,000 on it. Now this $125,000 home plus 100, 200, okay, 250 is now 900,000. That's the property value on it because it says it's a bread and breakfast. No parking, no yard, no nothing, no outside, right on the street. I mean, like 10 feet from the curb, across the street from the school, but it's worth $900,000. Who says? So the reset could include certain types of properties, certain type that are completely overvalued. I mean, on my own taxes, my house is only worth $8,800. They only value my house at less than $9,000. Now, if I had $9,000 cash, I couldn't go down and buy an old beat up trailer. And does my roof leak in a place or two? Yeah. Do I still need some work? Yeah. But they only value it at $9,000. Now the swamp in my backyard, which should be about a $500 to $700 an acre. They're valuing my swampland at $2,000 an acre, which is absurd. But if I go argue with them, then I get in trouble with the county, and I don't want that. So I'm gonna keep my mouth shut, at least for now. But so they determine what it is. It's a man-made construct. So could this man-made construct, could all of this be reset in some way? We need to keep an eye out. So these people that think their house is worth 1.5 million might not be worth that anymore. Its value might drop to half. Who knows? Will it happen? Could it happen? It's a possibility because this idea of things being overpriced. Okay. They're giving cars and trucks away because people are, they're out of jobs. Well, we'll give, 60 months of free financing. What? Free finance. In other words, if you'll buy one, we'll, you just pay us, and we don't want it back. We'll do everything we can. You try to make them payments, because there is no business, and, it's better to like not charge an interest, but simply to be able to sell it, simply to keep people working, and to keep the system moving for a car or a truck or a gizmo anyway. So the reset, it will definitely be financial. The folks on Wall Street, if you've got stock in something by happen chance, stance, whatever, sell it. Because if they could turn those pieces of paper into worthless junk like they've done in the past, sell it. If you've got anything that's in some kind of, my friends have lost, $100,000 over a 15-year period of him and his wife putting in money into their 401k plan, right? I mean, they were socking it away, and they woke up one day and there was no 401k. It was like there was like 20% left in their account overnight. 80% of what the value and their worth and their hard savings turned into 20%. So $100,000 turned into 20 overnight. Can this happen? Yes. Should we be careful? Yes. Take simple precautions and keep your eyes open, because it's going to affect different parts of the country differently. Down here in the South, we have a tendency to work things out. Bigger cities, Atlanta, places like that, don't know. They're folks up there are already back crap cray cray. So, it ain't going to need much for them to, go over the edge. Hey, SB, that's some green tobacco there. Yeah, actually, this is tobacco. 101, the tax man with his hand in your pocket. Yep. Yep. So, but anyway, I'm just trying to bring up this subject, not so much as a financial, I'm not a financial guru. I do keep up with stuff though. And I'm just saying, and they were just in my head and just beating me up tonight to say, listen, let's all have a conversation, because my curiosity, and we'll see what happens in the next few days, or coming up, but about the reset that the ETs talked about and what these folks mean by a reset. It's going to be interesting. Are we going to end up like Star Trek kind of folk, and money isn't going to matter? And are they going to, free things for folks, a guaranteed income for everybody? Well, wait a minute. I worked all my freaking life. I get $1,000 a month. It should be $1,400. They've stolen $400 a month from me from the get-go for the last, 7 years. They've cheated me on that. And so I'd like to get repaid for that, which would have been fair, because, when they changed the Social Security rules and stuff like that, and they made the Social Security part of the general fund, which is against the rules of why the Social Security is there. So, any kind of welfare people were not supposed to get money from Social Security. Welfare folks were supposed to get money from welfare programs, not from Social Security. They changed that during the Obama time so that welfare was now Social Security. Wrong. It shouldn't have been touched. So I gave up $400 a month so somebody else, so an illegal alien could get, some type of social service. Pissed me off, right? But anyway, so in that, why don't they just pay what's fair? Billionaires, why don't they just pay what's fair? But what's this reset going to do? Is it going to wipe out, all debt? Is it going to wipe out, the student loan debt? My daughter's still paying on hers. And oh well, they tacked on fees and they did this and that. Listen, if you just get your money back, shut up. It's supposed to be a student loan. They're students, okay? Not everybody got a job and they got out of college or Votech school or whatever. So this idea that it's so easily to pay back, they still have the education. It's still their education. The education my daughter received is still helping her with community and with people. And anyway, even though she's not getting paid for it and there are no jobs for what she was trained for, the idea though that she can still use her talents to be able to help people in her own way and through the local church she's with anyway. So I think some people are going to be very dang surprised. My intuition says, we need to hunker down because whatever happens, if they go and do, some kind of altering of numbers or something, and, if at the first of the month, I'm supposed to get $1,000 for my monthly supplement, then that $1,000, what if I'm expecting it to be $1,000, but only 500 came in? Wait a minute. Well, where's my other 500? Well, there's a reset. So, well, but the reset. Well, but yeah, but I need that other 500. I'm only living on $1,000 a month. Come on now. Where's the rest of my money? Well, we've had a reset. What? Well, we're reevaluating things. But where's my money? I paid into the system. This is my retirement fund. How come I can't have what I have put in? Or that's my retirement. What do you mean I can't have the rest of my retirement money? What? I mean, am I scared about it? No. Could it happen? Yeah. And somehow I used to make $250 a month. Selling aluminum, doing part-time jobs. I was going to school at the time and damn near died eating out of garbage cans. And, I knew which chicken dinners to get from the garbage can from the local KFC, you get the pieces that weren't drooled on. And if you watch a family come out and that's been eaten and you look and say, well, little kids never touch the mashed potatoes hardly or the coleslaw. So you were always good to go. And if they threw it away, you just went and got those containers and, munched out. So, there are ways, but, if there is no, Colonel Sanders and nobody's making chicken dinners and there's no garbage to go through, I mean, well, you better learn how to eat crawdads, and you better, especially if you're in the South, you better damn sure learn and find out what swamp cabbage is, and how to cook it and how to get it, how to dress it, how to kill it, because you will kill it. But with that said, of all the things that I've seen up to this point in my life, them talking about this reset tells me, we've been warned about 6 weeks of food or 3 weeks worth of food. Better damn sure make sure you got it. And those simple things, because we don't know what they're going to do. If the reset affects the supply chains in any way, truckers or the people who are making products, if the reset affects the supply chains, and look at the trouble we went through with toilet paper, right? And paper towels. So now that those things are back on the shelves and stuff, something else could be next. So, and not necessarily from a lockdown, but if the price of beef is cut in half, the farmers ain't going to sell their cows unless they have to, unless they're in some kind of duress. Chicken farmers, they're not going to give these chickens away. They'd turn them loose first. So we'd have a million chickens running around down here in South Georgia. You could catch one of them little ugly mothers and, try to eat it. But, if you've never cleaned a chicken before, if you've never cleaned an animal, how in the hell are you going to survive? Have you ever been rabbit hunting? Ever skinned a rabbit? Just saying. And should it get to that point? I hope not. But there's this really twingy feeling in me that says this could get nasty for real. Why? Because they're telling us there's going to be a reset. Everything else up to this point has been conspiracy. Well, I heard this and this person talked about that. Now the whole planet is talking. Guess what? The word Agenda 30 has been coming up. Well, we need planet-wide unity. We need the UN to step in and to make sure that the UN, and you know how much we like them folk, right? And the UN should be making sure that, this reset goes smoothly. The UN, if I see a blue helmet somewhere nearby, I'm going to be throwing gas on them. I'm sorry. I'll come up with, a slingshot and a rock in the eye, whatever, blue helmets come in, UN, you better not. And so the people in Texas are already like, you go ahead and send somebody around and to see if I've got a mask on, and you might not get home. And that's Texans for you. But I know some Georgia folks that are like, you're going to knock on my door and check and see what? This is my house. This is my yard. These are my guests. This is my family. And you're going to do what? Oh, yeah. Is there a turning point? Yes. Could the reset be and also involve our consciousness? I think people are waking up to this Thanksgiving thing about everybody in the house has got to wear a mask and say, how many people are going, well, we can't invite grandma this year. We might get her sick. It might be grandma's last chance. She might live longer if you go get her and make her feel a part of a family again, versus being secluded and quarantined. And, if it were me and I were ill and in a nursing home, I'd say, get me the fuck out of here and let's go have dinner. If I'm going to die, okie dokie, if I'm at risk, all right, I'm pretty much there anyway, but you're going to tell me I can't have turkey dinner with my family? I want pumpkin pie. Actually, I want sweet tater pie, but so anyway, we need to be aware of the different levels that's there. They already are talking about you better have a vaccine or proof of something before you can go to a concert, and being 6 feet back, so they're already, private businesses are already setting their own private, having nothing to do with government, their own standards for this. Well, we were listening to the government, and blah, 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 and these are our standards now. So mask up, America. And the rest of us are going, no. So there is a reset. We got to fix our thinking. We got to fix the science. Are people going to come out and start telling the truth about certain things? Going, listen, CNN has been wrong as hell. We've shut them down. Everybody has been put on a furlough. Nobody can talk over there at that network because they're all a bunch of dweebs and they're a bunch of, wrongdoers. And they've been reporting bad stuff. And you can't listen to them folk anymore. Sorry, some of them are going to jail. But anyway, but in this discussion of the reset, whatever they think they're talking about, remember, it's usually a doozy. So, with that said, I've repeated myself enough times. You're taking another toke? Okay, I'll take one with you. This is my new pipe I got last time I went to the store. And I got it filled with some tangerine, actually. Woo, that was a good one. Yum, yum. And it's got a little metal portion in the top. I could smoke tobacco in this too. But this got this little metal bowl that sits on top of the pipe. So where normal pipes, and I used to smoke a pipe all the time, tobacco mostly. Um, I have other pipes for smoking my tangerines. But you'd always get stuff down here at the bottom of the pipe, and you clean it out, and it'd get nasty and all. Well, this has got this stainless steel insert with holes poked in it, sort of like a screen, and I really like it. It was only $10, you know, at the local store that was purchased by some Pakistanis. And one of the interesting things, and I might have mentioned this before, but um, the guys that have been running that store over there in Coolidge been running it, I don't know, a good 10, 15 years. Well, before they did, there was owned by a family in this neighborhood, and it finally got too much for them. They got too old. Kids didn't want to work at the store, and it's an IGA type store, small grocery store, but they have meat products. And I realized the other day that now they're starting to carry cakes and cheesecakes and things like that. And I'm like, ooh, yeah, right. Since our local bakery closed down, I don't bake myself, but to have a piece of cake once in a while, ain't nothing wrong with that. So, but anyway, so got I'm talking with the guy, and he's how are things going? Oh, things are going okay, and since things are slowed down, we're trying to be more efficient here in the store. He's the guy that gave me the corn dog and leftover chicken and stuff, at the end of the day. He said, "You good customer. You a good customer. You always come in, you always nice, you a good customer. Here, you take well, no, here, it's free. You just take these home with you." So here's the thing. I have known some folks who have moved in here from, India, Pakistan, that area, right? Not sure exactly, but they come over here with an attitude, and they moved down here into the South, and they're really aloof somehow. Well, in those areas, they have a caste system. So if you're born in a different caste, like if you're the ones that clean toilets, then you can't be anything else. You can't rise up from your caste system. You're stuck there. So, but anyway, the longer some of these people have been here, I can't necessarily say that they have become American, but these folks down here have surely become Southerners, because they're how they treat people. They opened a new store, gas station thingy, near the Pizza Hut and Moultrie kind of thing, and brand new store, looks great. Went in, and the people are like, "Oh, hi neighbor, how are you? Come in. This is my wife. The store has only been open 4 days when I was there." And we come in, we're going to have a special next week, stop by, and we're going to, and where before it was just like very aloof and wouldn't speak to you unless spoken to or whatever. And then and folks are trying to speak better English rather than, trying to skip over it. And so, and I don't know whether it's because they feel like they will fit in better, because before it didn't matter. It was a store. They were open. You spend money. That's the deal. There wasn't anything else. But now they're becoming personal. Like, "Hey, Joe, how are you?" kind of thing. Where before they just didn't care who was coming in and out of the store. But now there are people coming in the store joking with the guy behind the counter who before was very silent and stuck to him. And so you say, well, did we Southerners actually do anything to them? Nah, we were just Southerners. And after a while, they have seen our point of view without stuffing it down their throat. They have they have become Southerners in and of themselves, even though they're still, have this, you know, they're the first generation Pakistani or Indian or whatever. But now any of their offspring may have that first generation American tie, but they're going to be Southerners. They're not going to be Pakistani. They're not going to have this other mindset. They might have the family, mother and father and that kind of thing, but they're growing up down here in the South. And, they're going to be listening to Buck Owens before you know it, or something like that, or country music. Anyway, but to that point, it's interesting to see that even people from other nations, places, and whatever, I know that, not all Southerners are good folk, but most of us are. And genuinely, when you show other people respect, and when I was up in Tennessee, I love Tennessee and some of them places up there. And so it's not just Georgia and it's not just Southerners, but, you know, um, when I went to Ohio and to visit relatives up there was a distinct difference in personality type thing. You go in and say, "Howdy, neighbor, how you doing?" And like, "What you talking about? You talking to me? Yeah. How you doing? What are you asking me for? Blah, 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 blah. Cards. Oh, I knew somebody was out there asking. I'll tell you what. I'll shut up about this because I was just going to sort of wrap this up with this story. But okay, it's Friday night, Saturday morning. What the hell? We ain't doing nothing else, right? So I'll get the cards out in a minute. I'm going to take another 4 more hours. Michelle. No, I literally worked my tail off around here today. There are several things that needed two people to move, and my friend came, bless her heart. And I told her when she got here, I said, "Listen, I know you're the granddaughter, you're actually the daughter-in-law of my friends, and we're not related. But I said, you're as close, you're closer to me than my own daughter. You come and visit, you bring your daughter, which I love, and she's like a granddaughter to me. And I said, I just want you to know how much I love you and thank you for this." And she was like, "Oh, now stop it, stop, don't." But and I said, but as days go on, I said, we have to keep telling folks how much how much your effort to come and help me is I'm so humbled, you know. And when I paid her, she goes, "That's too much money." And I said, "Not to me. This is what I had planned." But I didn't. And I said, "You know better than to argue with me." "Okay, Mr. Dave. But anyway, I don't know if I did another 4 hours, some of you folks would probably try to hang out with me. Just saying. But Maverick, whether you're jerking my chain or not, doesn't matter. I get it. It's still humorous, even if you're serious. I get a big kick out of it. I do. But anyway, this this tobacco I'm smoking um is called AM. In other words, you smoke it in the mornings. Now, it is early morning here, but if you smoke it because it won't knock you out. And I've got another sample that's called PM, and it's not premenstrual, no, or menstrual either. It could be minstrel in the gallery for those of you who are Toll fans. But uh, The PM is for in the evenings when you're done, you ain't gonna drive nowhere, you smoke the PM. But anyway, I just found it funnier than hell when I arranged for this AM, PM, yeah, daytime, nighttime. Okay, 3 more hours then. It's 8:25 a.m. here. 8:25. Amanda, where the hell are you? It's 2:25. Better than peon. There you go. We could say it was post-maniacal, PM, post-maniacal or manical. So I got the cards here and I'm going to rap with y'all and while I'm shuffling, mixing. And I also, some of them, I don't, at first when I was doing the cards, I would go through the cards and look at them and put them all like right side up. And then I realized, but how do you know then if the cards flipped? Okay. So then I just started not caring if they were upside or downside or whatever. And in fact, I kind of made it a point to, not get involved in upside or downside, upside down or not. But also when I pull the card, sometimes I might have the card, unless you look at the card, you don't really know if it's upside down or not, right? So there is no reference on the face of these cards for me to say, well, this card's upside down. So I might just turn the card over, or I might be prompted to flip the card over. Then that would make this card was squirrel. Yeah, we're all nuttier than fruitcake. Oh, you live in Germany? Oh, I knew. I told somebody tonight. I said there are friends of. I know somebody in Germany. Maybe it was you that I was thinking about, as just that sort of. There's so many of y'all, and I know that I think Maverick's in BC. I think. And Michelle, I think, is in Wisconsin. I think Teresa's up in the Northeast somewhere. Pamela is in California, but I can't remember where. But, so I try to just get at least the state, Like Brian Lunsford, he's down in Florida near Pensacola area. And I would love if I could ever trust my truck to go that far, which it needs work before I go driving anywhere. You're in Wisconsin too. That's right. And you're a Canuck, eh, Michelle? There's nothing wrong with that. Like I said, I've known some really, really nice Canadians. People say, "Oh, them Canucks, they're a bunch of stupids." Have you looked in the mirror lately? You're not too bright yourself there, Jethro. Billy Bob. And does it matter where you live? Katniss, I'm not really here. Neither am I. But somebody prompted me to do this dang video tonight. And here's the thing, I was telling my friend today, I said, there are times when, for whatever reason, I just have to get online and do a video. And it'd be like literally the furthest thing from my mind. I'm going to watch a movie, me and the dog going to walk outside, or, whatever. And then I get this, spiritual thing that says, no, you need to get online. Why? Well, tonight I didn't necessarily have a topic, but after seeing the reset and everything, I said, well, this is a good introduction. And it is important because there are so many Um, hey, Slightly Slanted, how you? So anyway, don't know how many cards I'm going to pull. Um, hmm. I don't have a particular theme in mind to ask the cards, or I'm not looking for anything with the cards. All right. So, but Maverick said, you said, you brought it up. I know Michelle was thinking it too, about doing cards. So, if maybe there should be a card for you. So, anyway, we're Facebook friends. That's right. I can't get on to Facebook a lot of times. Anyway, and I'm not trying to be a snob about it neither. I just whatever it can. I think it knows my IP address here at the house because I've been to my friend's house, logged on through her local, um, server, router, modem, and not had any problem. I come back home, I can't log into Facebook. No idea why. And it's probably because of all the crazy shit I talk about. But anyway, so y'all think of something, that you want me to pull the cards on. You emailed me last night. Okay, I'll check. Some people have told me they've emailed me. I've looked in the trash, I've looked in this, and I've not gotten those emails. Oh, but I sent you one. No, you didn't. I've looked, I've checked. What day? 2 days ago. Sorry, not there. I went in the trash, the spam thingy, nothing there. Now, you may have sent it, but I don't have it. And sometimes people, can get a little, but I sent you I swear to God. And Brian and I have this issue several times. He said, I sent you an email. Then he'd call me and he'd go, did you get that email I sent you? And I'd go, no. And he'd go, well, damn it, man. I wanted to do a show tonight, but okay, So, we were always, after a while, we were always double checking. And I would call him back and go, hey, did we have a show planned for tonight? Or, sometimes plans changed, but which was always fine with me. There were times that we had something planned and he would drop me to have somebody else on, which is fine. I never had I don't have issues with that, um, at all. I'm just humbled and glad to still be here. So y'all thinking about something? Isby, I think of my niece. Sarah Howerton, how are you? Horton hears a who. Yeah. Hi, David Castle. Okay. So, for whatever the message is tonight, I'm just leaving it up to the universe. All right. I could just pick 3 top cards, but um, one of the things that for people who are trying to increase their spiritual awareness, or I a lot of people, I've used the word too, you get the power of the understanding. Understanding is a power. And people want to associate power to, like, you know, I don't know, a god or something, and the power is the understanding. The power is what you've learned. But what are you going to do with that power? Well, you can use it in a lot of different ways. Where do you want to use that power to control people? If that's what you're in this for, then you're not in the same business I'm in. You know, they want this card right here on the bottom. It was hotted with my fingertips. And there's another card here. Is it that one? Yeah. It just feels different under my fingertips. So I keep the cards face down, and then I use the back of my fingers and scroll through them. And sometimes I can feel a change, sort of like in temperature or feeling or something. Sometimes it's like a vibration. And then so some card, there's just nothing when I touch the rest of the cards. So as I shuffle through them, not looking at them like this, so, but I'm feeling for them with my fingertips is, what y'all want to tell me here. First card, oh my gosh, is Buffalo. I was thinking about Buffalo the other day, and the spirit came over me and said, you need to just do a short video and let's just talk about what Buffalo means. And here's the card. So maybe this was meant for me, but it was also meant for you, and maybe a reminder to me that, remember, Dave, you were going to talk about Buffalo. I had promised myself to do, just here's Buffalo, read about it, and that was going to be that little discussion, and that was going to be the video. So, the Buffalo card comes up. Interesting. So, out of all these 30 some cards or whatever, I have a tendency to, you know, pick that which a subject I was going to discuss. And here it is. So next card up, Dragonfly. Now I happened to flip it upside down. It could have been right side up the way it was sitting, but that was one of those times I flipped it. But I always read the contrary anyway. So Dragonfly is the second one. That's interesting because Dragonfly was sort of on my mind the other day. Actually, it had to do with dragons and people talking about dragons, this and that, and dragon spirits. And it's like, there's some folks out there that I listen and some of what they say, sometimes a lot of what they say, just does not resonate. And I'm like, I was born in the year of the dragon, and in a way, I seem to understand something about dragons. Not trying to be snooty, mind you. Here's this next card. It's this one here. All right. You sure? Ooh, I have never pulled the Swan card. Now that's interesting. So somebody says they want one more card. Using these cards, and like, for example, a couple of days ago, I pulled the Buffalo card along with Mouse and something else. Anyway, I think I pulled 5 cards, or maybe it was only 4. But Buffalo, and Buffalo came to me again, and they was like, just talk about Buffalo. So in that, the Buffalo came up. And so it was a subconscious thing, but I still found it in this deck with all these other things. So as a test for yourself, you can get a deck of regular playing cards and just think of a number, not necessarily a suit. You could make it easier and say, well, you've got 2 reds and two black. So deck down, you thumb through a card until you feel like you've got a heart, and flip it over and see if you're right. So then you can get really good at it. So how do you learn how to read cards? You can practice with just regular cards. You just have to set a parameter. So the parameter is, I'm going to start with, and you can change up. Now I want to clubs. Or you can say, well, let me shuffle these, not look at them. Let me see if I can pull a diamond out. So you don't look, you just kind of shuffle through, and you go, okay, spirit, show me a diamond, and you'll feel when it go, okay, that's a diamond. If it ain't, then you were fooled. So you say, okay, don't be discouraged, because it's all in the practice. I'm still learning how to do this. Blue waffle. Oh, I love blueberry waffles and blueberry pancakes with blueberry with boysenberry syrup from IHOP. Yeah, let's all go down to the IHOP. Whoa! So my final card and pulling 4, and I've never pulled this card, is the Eagle, number 1. Whoa! Now, this is going to be an interesting spread because what I asked the universe was, this is open for us. What do what do you want? What do you want to say, And I know the topic was the reset, and I hope it wasn't too boring, but we really need to pay attention. And if you haven't paid attention, because they're telling us their plan, that's the interesting part. So, do I know what it is? No, but you know them folk. They're some nefarious some bitches, Slightly saying, sorry, Hawkeye, it's all good. Okay, thank you. I copied that into my Steiger file. Interesting. I've never pulled the swan and I've never pulled an eagle. And of these 4 cards that I've pulled, 3 of them fly. Just saying, versus being earthbound. So I pulled the swan first. No, I'm sorry, I pulled buffalo first. 19. Well, since I'm already on swan, let me see what swan has to say. I'm really curious. I know what buffalo is. And we have read buffalo before, but swan. Oh, of course. Let me switch classes. Swan is grace. Now, isn't that interesting? Swan is grace, as in being graceful. That makes sense, eh? Swan, the power of woman entering sacred space, touching future yet to come, bringing eternal grace. Little Swan flew through the dream time, looking for the future. She rested for a moment in the coolness of the pond, looking for a way to find the entry point to the future. This was a moment of confusion for Swan. I just did a video the other day about confusion. Interesting, some of these words keep popping up that I have discussed, Anyway, especially for me. But see, that's proof to me that in my discussions with you all, these what I would call key words show up in other cards and other things. So the words must be important, not just to you, but to me, because I'm like, confusion. There we go. Me and my friend were talking about all the confusion today as we were working. So, but anyway, so for me, this is sort of proof that I must be pulling the right kind of cards because of these keywords. Anyway, so how do you know if you're doing it right? Then if you're thinking about a subject and you happen to have animal cards or something like that, the practice comes when you see these keywords show up because of the discussions, because of my thoughts about buffalo. It was the first card. Anyway, I think you get the point. She rested for a moment in the coolness of the pond, looking for a way to find the entry point to the future. This was a moment of confusion for Swan, as she knew that she had happened into the dream time by accident. This was her first flight alone, and she was a bit concerned by the dream time's landscape. Looks different. As Swan looked high above Sacred Mountain, she saw the biggest swirling black hole she had ever seen. Dragonfly, I pulled the card, Dragonfly came flying by and Swan stopped him to ask him about the black hole. Dragonfly said, Swan, That is the doorway to the other planes of imagination. Now, see, I'm freaking out here because I pulled the dragonfly card and Swan's talking to the dragonfly. I'm just saying, I'm kind of having a moment here. Dragonfly said, Swan, that is the doorway to the other planes of imagination. I have been guardian of the illusion for many, many moons. If you want to enter there, you would have to ask permission and earn the right. Swan was not so sure that she wanted to enter the black hole. She asked Dragonfly what was necessary for, for her to earn entry. Dragonfly replied, you must be willing to accept whatever the future holds as it is presented without trying to change Great Spirit's plan. Swan looked at her ugly little duckling body and then answered, I will be happy to abide by Great Spirit's plan. I won't fight the currents of the black hole. I will surrender to the flow of the spiral and trust what I am shown. Dragonfly was very happy with Swan's answer and began to spin the magic to break the pond's illusion. Suddenly, Swan was engulfed by a whirlpool in the center of the pond. Swan reappeared many days later, but now she was graceful and white and long necked. Dragonfly was astounded and stunned. Swan, he said, what happened to you? Swan smiled and said, Dragonfly, I learned to surrender my body to the power of the Great Spirit and was taken to where the future lives. I saw many wonders high on Sacred Mountain, and because of my faith and my acceptance, I have been changed. I have learned to accept the state of grace. Dragonfly was very happy for Swan. Swan told Dragonfly many of the wonders beyond the illusion. Through her healing and her accepting of the state of grace, she was given the right to enter the dream time. So it is that we learn to surrender to the grace of the rhythm of the universe. I talked about that the other day. And slip from our physical bodies into the dream time. Swan medicine teaches us to be at one with all planes of consciousness and to trust in Great Spirit's protection. If you pulled Swan, it ushers in a time of altered states of awareness and of development of your intuitive abilities. Swan medicine people have the ability to see the future, to surrender to the power of Great Spirit, and to accept the healing and transformation of their lives. Swan card is telling you to accept your ability to know what lies ahead. If you are resisting your self-transformation, then relax. It will be easier if you go with the flow. Stop denying that you know who is calling when the phone rings. Pay attention to your hunches and your gut knowledge and honor your female intuitive side. Now, that's the straight up Swan. And I think I pulled it straight up. Now, that for me is just danged interesting because the things I've been thinking about, things I have recently discussed, and the fact that it ties in with the dragonfly, which I'll read in a minute. Just danged interesting. Especially the what I said as I was finishing up talking about the reset. We have to keep an eye on the future. Do we know what it is? Well, we need to look at that, not necessarily to be afraid or whatever, but with certain things we're going to have to go with the flow. Other things we're going to have to buck. But anyway, contrary, if you pulled Swan in the reverse, it is warning you that you must acknowledge what you know. Now, I mentioned that in a video not too long about, that you are the spirit, you are a spirit. Stop trying to dream up something else. You know what you know. So stop denying your feeling and klutzing up. So I know a few people, that this card would be for, the contrary would actually be for them. Not any of you now. You may be bumping into furniture or forgetting what you are saying in mid-sentence. If so, this is a sign that you are not grounded. Jump in place and hold the top of your head as you do so. This will get you back in touch with the earth and keep you from wandering into a dreamy reality that lessens your focus. I was talking about the other night, and I'll mention this again. There is a lesson to be learned, and the lesson is ignore. You need to learn how to ignore things in life. Not that you don't see them, or you just don't, you see them and go, okay, you ignore them. Doesn't mean that you forget them, but you ignore them. And there are a lot of side drafts and chaos and things that people are getting wrapped up in, when you need to just like read the headlines and ignore the rest. You've got enough information, you see what's going on. But it's a very big lesson. Okay, this baths help to ground you and to keep your focus, as does going barefoot or doing some gardening. I walk around barefoot a lot these last couple of years. In any case, Swan Reverse says that you need to pay some attention to your body. It can seem as if you are flying without a pilot's license if you are not aware of what you take of where or when you take off or land. Not recognizing the shift from left brain to right brain is common when you are evolving spiritually. This is all part of the developing the intuitive side of your nature, and is a sign that you are not being conscious of your entry into other levels of awareness. Yeah, I could see that. In the development of higher mind, you are embarking on new territory that has rules or universal laws of its own. You can't skip fourth dimension. In the world of spirit, you need to pay close attention to the unseen. You may sense or feel in a slightly different way, but this is gradual. Sometimes the shift is lost among your normal activities until you feel spaced out. At these moments, it is time to reconnect with Mother Earth. The solution to Contrary Swan is, they've got a list of listed as 1, 2, and 3. Number 1, notice your surroundings and touch the earth with your feet, hands, or both. Number 2, focus on one reality or the other. Pick a spot. If you are being called to visit the dream time, stop what you were doing and be still. Enter the silence and empty your mind of chatter. Be receptive and open so that the message may enter your consciousness. And, oh, I feel something coming. Don't try to guess what it is. Just go with the flow. Well, it might be a message from my lost. You can't go there. You cannot think. There's a feeling, but your intuition sometimes wants to guess. You got to stay out of the guessing realm. You got to just let it go, and it'll come and go. Wait a minute. I was thinking it might be Uncle Bob, but Aunt Sarah just came into my head. Sarah, Sarah Horton. Yeah, there you go. Anyway, so number 3, if you are just preoccupied, daydreaming, or spacey, you need to focus on doing some physical activity. Now, I was spacey the other day, and it's exactly true. I had to get up and go outside and do something with the dog because I was spacey. I even said so the other day. I said, I just felt like just stared out the window for no particular reason. Anyway, use the reasoning side of your brain to make a list of what you need to do next. And this will stop the clutter in your mind that may be causing the confusion. I talked about confusion the other day, right? So there are certain key words that keep coming up with these cards that seem to be related, at least in the pattern of the message that they're trying to send to me through you, or through me to you. There you go. Okay, Dragonfly. I'm going to read it next because it was attached to Swan there. That was just weird. Sometimes days later, I'll think, these cards will come to my mind and I'll go, man, I can't believe those cards came out that way. And the message that I got out of it, and I know many of you said that the cards help you. So anyway, Dragonfly is illusion. Old and clumsy and need new glasses sometimes. But here's something else, and I was talking with my friend about this. And I should impart it to you because I do think that in this new realm, and I take certain things for granted, and I've talked about this, but it's been a while. But and it sort of ties in with Dragonfly, in that Dragonfly is about illusion. So I was telling my friend, I said, and I know I've talked at some point about this. Some of you may remember, but being able to learn how to see with your fingertips. And folks will go, what the hell are you talking about? Well, listen, old mechanics, they can reach up behind something and they can hold on to something and do a thing. And you go, and how'd you know it was there? I learned to see with my hands, I've done this so long, it's become natural. Your mechanics so long, there's a nut up there, there's a bolt, for me or a greenhorn, you'd have to, where is it and which way is it facing and how do they just reach their hand up there and do it and take it off or put it on or whatever with a lot less effort than many of some other people, and I went through this with certain things in my being a mechanic. And that, there were times I just couldn't see where the bolt was or whatever. And I just, for some reason, I had to see it. And then I realized, and I was laying under the truck, on a roller thingy, and the spirit came over me and said, you need to relax. But I can't see it. I don't know where. You don't need to see it. And I was like laying with the tools in my hand going, what? You already think about it. I looked at the pictures. I knew that, it might have been a starter or something. But anyway, so I'm on a strain. I'm trying to get the bolts to line up, And so in this, it was like the bolt is right above the thing. So, and if you, feel the bell housing, you'll feel that that's where the bolt is. Oh, you don't need to look at it. Use what you already know from the pictures and what you know about engines and all, and you'll be able to see where it is. And so I traced my little fingers up there and I could literally see the end of the bolt. And I was like, whoa, now that's creepy. So, but then I started using it in other ways, like when I split wood. I can, use a 5-pound maul with one hand and sling it and hit the same place in the log, the same crack 2 or 3 times in a row. I don't mean over a little bit. I mean right dead smack in the same crack. I have freaked out I've talked about this, but I've freaked my daughter out and other people that go, how the hell do you do that? You already know your body, if you allow your body to do it, and this has to do with grace in that you go with the flow, your mind is already calculated where it's going to go and how your hand's going to do it if you have faith in yourself. So you can see with your fingertips, you can hit a piece of wood. Why are carpenters good at what they do? Because they've done it so long. They do what to many of us seem magical, but they have learned, and they don't even have to. I was talking with my friend. I said I knew this old Indian woman. She was like 89 years old, and she was like 4'2" maybe, 85 pounds at best. Smoked lit cigarettes from one off the other, anyway. But she did beadwork. And I mean, tiny little beads with tiny little holes and needles. And she could look at you and talk to you while she was beading and never look down at the beads. Now, what does that tell you? You know, and people who do quilting and things, they do these knots and stuff, and I'm like, how'd you do that? And they're just like, "Ba-doop, ba-doop, 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 ba-doop," you know, and they've knitted a sweater in it in an hour, you know, and I'm still working on the first line. And I go, how now? Well, and they don't even look at it. So, but here's the thing, that is a power. That's the power of the understanding. That's the power that you've learned this. You trust yourself enough, you don't even have to look. So, in that, here's where I'm going to talk about Dragonfly. This ties in with Swan because Swan gave it up to the universe, and instead of being an ugly duckling came out with grace. So, these things that each of us have a different talent. But if you give yourself the patience and the time, you will learn something to the point where you don't even have to look at it. You know, I can't type of all the years I've been typing, I still have to look at the keyboard. I don't have to look for the letters, but I have to see the keyboard. You know, and I said A's over there and the thingy, but this touch type, and I've known people, you know, type 90 words a minute and have a conversation with me and never have a misspelled word. And the sentences are correct. And I'm like, how the hell do you do that? Well, you know, it's just a, you know, okay. So we all have those are the powers of the mind. Those are the powers that we achieve. Those are examples. And when we accept them in the universe, we can become graceful with the swan. And then Dragonfly is going to teach us about illusion. There, it is related, trust me. Anyway, Dragonfly breaks illusions, brings visions of power. No need to prove it. Now is the hour. Know it. Believe it. Great Spirit intercedes, feeding you, blessing you, filling all your needs. Dragonfly medicine is of the dream time and the illusionary facade we accept as physical reality. The iridescence of the dragonfly's wings reminds us of colors not found in our everyday experience. Dragonfly's shifting of color, energy, form, and movement explodes into the mind of the observer, bringing vague memories of a time or place where magic reigned. Some legends say the dragonfly was once dragon, and that dragon had scales like dragonfly's wings. Dragon was full of wisdom and flew through the night, bringing light with its fiery breath. The breath of dragon brought forth the art of magic and the illusion of changing form. Then dragon got caught in his own facade. Coyote tricked dragon into changing form, and the shape of its new body became like dragonflies. In accepting the challenge to prove its power and magical prowess, dragon lost its power. Dragonfly is the essence of the winds of change. Swan went into the vortex and changed. Okay. The messages of wisdom and enlightenment and the communication from the elemental world. This elemental world is made up of the tiny spirits of plants and of the elements of the air, earth, fire, and water. In essence, this world is full of nature spirits. If Dragonfly has flown into your cards today, you may have forgotten to water your gardens. I actually did forget to water the plants. On another level, you may need to give thanks to the foods you eat for sustaining your body. On the psychological level, it may be time to break down the illusions you have held that restrict your action or your ideas. Dragonfly medicine always beckons you to seek out the parts of your habits which you need to change. Have you put on too much weight, or have you started to look like a scarecrow? Have you tended to the changes you have wanted, to have you tended to the changes you wanted to make in your life? If you feel the need for change, call on Dragonfly to guide you through the mists of illusion to the pathway of transformation. See how you can apply the art of illusion to your present question or situation. And remember that things are never completely as they seem. Contrary, if you're trying to provide, are you trying to provide to yourself or someone else that you have power? Are you caught in an illusion that weakens your true feelings or minimizes your abilities? If so, you may have contracted dragonfly dive bombing. Is this the final crash and burn for some pipe dream that had no real purpose? Look within and feel the sense of self energy within yourself. Notice if it is ebbing, and find the point in time when you were deluded into believing that you would be happier if you changed because someone else wanted you to. Now, there's a lot of that going on, not necessarily with anybody in this chat, but with some other channels and things where people are almost goaded into, well, if you don't believe like we do, you're not part of us or something. Yeah. Listen, we don't do that here. You can believe what you want, but if you're going down the wrong path, there may be some of us who say, are you sure you want to do that? Just saying. Look within and feel the sense of self energy within yourself. Notice if it is ebbing. A lot of people, because of the confusion, are, they're wanting to give up. And I got to admit, there are times when I'm like, what the hell am I doing this for? And then I remember there's a higher purpose to this for me, and for everybody else, if you understand it, right? And find the point in time when you were deluded into believing that you would be happier if you changed because someone else wanted you to. Misery is a prime clue that you lost your will and personal validity when you bought into someone else's idea of who or what you should be or what you should believe. The illusion was that you would be happier if you did it their way. And forfeiting what you know is right and true for you personally, you give away your power. You give away your power. It is time for you to take it back. Follow Dragonfly to the place inside your body where magic is still alive and drink deeply of its power. Now, Dragonfly did come out upside down, by the way. This strength belongs to you. It is the power of becoming the illusion. This ability is ever changing and contains within it the knowledge that you are creating it all. So, Dragonfly. Now, I'm going to read Eagle next because I've never read it. But Buffalo, I haven't forgot. Buffalo's sitting right there yelling at me. But I've never read Eagle. And it's number 1 in the book, just as an example, just for Spirit. And I had a conversation about this the other day, didn't I? I just kind of went off the rails and said, hey, y'all out there, this thing about spirit, you are one, right? That's important. And here is the subject, spirit. Let me get a drink. So those of you who followed around Slightly Slanted, you need Dragonfly. It's the dream state. It's, yeah. Everett. Merrick's in the house, or who else? Anyway, let me get to Eagle. Now, see, for me, I had not pre-rehearsed this, right? That's why I wanted to go to Eagle, because I hadn't read it before, right? But there are two new cards here. uh, tonight. Buffalo, I've only pulled it once, and Dragonfly has been pulled several times, which should be sort of a reminder to us that, you know, there are folks that are trying to put out an illusion for us to believe, you know, you know, or do we follow our own internal, signals? And because Dragonfly was upside down, it is a warning. We need to follow what we know. And I was talking to you yesterday about the spirit, and that we are all spirit beings, accept it, please. And so, number one, eagle is spirit. So, do these tie up with what I've been talking about over the last, and, a lot, but, just recently within the last 2 or 3 days, for me, is like, holy crap, I picked these cards for us, but wow. Anyway, it still blows my mind. Eagle, fly high, touch great spirit. Share your medicine, touch me, honor me, so that I may know you too. Eagle medicine is the power of the Great Spirit, the connection to the divine. It is the ability to live in the realm of spirit and yet remain connected and balanced within the realm of the earth. Eagle soars and is quick to observe expansiveness within the overall pattern of life. From the heights of clouds, Eagle is close to the heavens where the Great Spirit dwells. The feathers of eagle are considered to be the most sacred of healing tools. They have been used for centuries by shamans to cleanse the auras of patients coming to them for healing. Within the belief system of Native American tribes, eagle represents a state of grace. Swan, grace, connection. Oh man. A state of grace achieved through hard work, understanding, and a completion of the tests of initiation, which result in the taking of one's own personal power. Understanding and the completion of the tests of initiation, which result in the taking of one's personal power. You accept and receive, and you take that power, and you understand. It is only through the trial of experiencing the lows in life as well as the highs, and through the trial of trusting one's connection to the Great Spirit, that the right to use the essence of eagle medicine is earned. If you have pulled this symbol, eagle is reminding you to take heart and gather your courage, for the universe is presenting you with an opportunity to soar above the mundane levels of your own life. The power of recognizing this opportunity may come in the form of a spiritual test. In being astute, you may recognize the places within your soul, personality, emotions, or psyche that need bolstering or refinement. By looking at the overall tapestry, Eagle teaches you to broaden your sense of self beyond the horizon of what is presently visible. In learning to fiercely attack your personal fear of the unknown, the wings of your soul will be supported by the ever present breezes, which are the breath of the Great Spirit. Feed your body, but more importantly, feed your soul within the realm of Mother Earth and Father Sky. The dance that leads to flight involves the conquering of fear and the willingness to join in the adventure that you are co-creating with the divine. I was talking about, yes, before I said, I consider this life to be an adventure, and here that word comes up again with this, and the willingness to join in the adventure that you are co-creating with the divine. If Eagle has majestically soared into your cards, you are being put on notice to reconnect with the element of air. Air is the mental plane, and in this instant, it is of the higher mind. Wisdom comes in many strange and curious forms and is always related to the creative force of Great Spirit. If you have been walking in the shadows of former realities, Eagle brings illumination. Eagle teaches you to look higher and to touch the grandfather sun with your heart, to love the shadow as well as the light. See the beauty in both, and you will take flight like the eagle. Eagle medicine is a gift we give ourselves to remind us of the freedom of the skies. Eagle asks you to give yourself permission to legalize freedom and to follow the joy your heart desires. Wow. Okay. Now, contrary. Now, eagle was right side up. If you had pulled the eagle in the reverse, you have forgotten your power and the connectedness to the Great Spirit. You may have failed to recognize the light that is always available for those who seek illumination. I keep saying that energy is always there. You just need to, accept and receive it. And they're saying the light that is always available for those who seek it, who seek illumination. Heal your broken wings with love. Loving yourself as you are loved by the Great Spirit is the lesson which the contrary eagle brings. On some level, eagle is telling you to seek higher ground on which to build your nest. The nest is your home of the heart. Home is where the heart is. The nest is the home of the heart and cannot remain in a swamp. Well, I do live down here. But anyway, if your nest is in a swamp, this may be connected to your belief that your wings are clipped by an impossibility in your present status. Eagle's nest is high in the mountains where the air is clean and the movement free. It may be your time for a vision quest so that you can commune with the Great Spirit. Fasting and praying will surely bring an answer. Seek lofty ideals, and illumination will be close at hand. That's a very interesting card, and I can see why they wanted me to do them in this order. Now, Buffalo, number 19. Number 19. Buffalo's been on my mind ever since I read that darn card the other night. So we've had spirit, we've had illusion, we've had grace, not in that order, I went backwards. And now we have prayer and abundance with Buffalo. Buffalo, you bring us the gifts of life. Hear our prayers, smoke rising like phoenix. We are reborn within the sacred words. Let me get a sip of drinky here. And it's number 19, by the way. In the Lakota tradition, it was the white buffalo calf woman who brought the sacred pipe to the people and taught them to pray. The bowl of the pipe was the receptacle that held tobacco, an herb with male and female medicine. The stem of the pipe represents the male entering the female and seeding life. In the coming together of male and female, the connection to the divine energy of the Great Spirit was made. As the pipe was loaded with tobacco, every family in nature was asked to enter into the pipe and to share its medicine as prayer and praise to the heavens. Prayer and praise. You never hear the word worship in any of this. Remember that. The smoke was considered to be visual prayer and was very sacred and cleansing. So if you're smoking a pipe, and it could be something else, you can send those prayers up with the smoke while you're smoking rather than just coughing and exhaling. If you offer that up as not necessarily so much as a sacrifice, but as a gift, and that your prayers go up with the smoke, it is a visualization of your prayers. Keep that in mind, folks. All animals are sacred, but in many traditions, white buffalo is the most sacred. The appearance of white buffalo is a sign that prayers are being heard and that the sacred pipe is being honored and that the promises of prophecy are being fulfilled. White buffalo signals a time of abundance and plenty. Buffalo is the major source of sustenance for the Plains Indians. It gave meat for food, hides for clothing, warm and soft buffalo robes for long winters, and hooves for glue. The medicine of buffalo is prayer, gratitude, and prayer and praise. Let me back up. The medicine of buffalo is prayer, gratitude, and praise for that which has been received. Buffalo medicine is also knowing that abundance is present when all relations are honored as sacred. Now, you hear me in my prayer, and I say, all your friends, relatives, and all of your relations. That includes spirit beings, past, present, and to come. That covers anybody in the universe that you may have come in contact with in your spirit lifetime. Anyway, buffalo medicine is the knowing that the abundance is present when all relations are honored as sacred. And when gratitude is expressed to every living part of creation, every living part of creation, not just one, because of its desire to give the gifts that its body provided, and because of its willingness to be used on earth for the highest good before entering the hunting grounds of spirit, buffalo did not readily stampede and run from hunters. To use buffalo medicine is to smoke the pipe in a sacred manner and to give praise for the richness of life to be shared with all races, all creatures, all nations, and all life. It's it means smoking for others so that their needs are met, praying for the good of all things in harmony, and accepting the great mystery as part of that harmony. If you have drawn the buffalo card, you may be asked to use your energy in prayer. You may also be called upon to be an instrument of someone else's answer to the prayer. This could portend a time of recognizing the sacredness of every walk of life, albeit different from your own. To honor another's pathway, even if it brings you sadness, is a part of the message that Buffalo brings. Now, there are those of us who I'm sad because there are some folks who seem to have turned to in a different direction with their spiritualness. They seem to, want to rely on spells and sigils and all these other external things when none of that is really necessary. But they don't want to think about that there already are a spirit and that they control things if they are stay connected with the divine universe and great spirit. um you know but anyway, so we honor these people and love them anyway, albeit different from our own. To honor another's passed away, even if it brings you sadness, is a part of the message that Buffalo brings. This may be a time of reconnection to the meaning of life and the value of peace. Most assuredly, this time will bring serenity amidst chaos. There's that word chaos. If you pray in earnest for enlightenment and the power of calmness and give praise for the gifts you already have. A lot of folks don't do that. Buffalo medicine is a sign that you achieve nothing without the aid of Great Spirit and that you must be humble enough to ask for that assistance and be grateful for what you receive and continue to stay humble. Now, the contrary of buffalo, and it was upside down. Actually, it's not. Anyway, I read contrary anyway. To receive buffalo upside down is a signal that you have forgotten to seek help when it was needed. If your hand is closed in a fist, you cannot receive the bounty of abundance. Think about that. When we're angry, this ain't in the book, but when we're angry, what happens? We clench our hands into a fist. How can we receive in abundance with a closed, clenched fist? Think about that. In understanding the significance of the reversed buffalo, you may well ask yourself, one, have I forgotten my eternal partner, the Great Spirit? Number two, am I pushing myself too fast in the physical world and keeping myself from seeing the importance of reunion with the source of all life? In other words, we stay so confused and off, that we forget that our reunion with the source of all life. If we're distracted, how can we actually, anyway. Number three, have I forgotten to honor the ways of others and to afford them the same respect that I wish to receive myself? So are we worried about some folks? And I know I am. I've seen some folks go in some very strange and odd ways, and I just, oh my God. But as I said before myself, I still love and I pray for them. And we have to this is what Buffalo's teaching us. We really have to get this. We don't have to like them, but we do have to honor and respect their point of view. Number four, am I feeling like my life is being used for the highest good at this time? Now, there are many of us who wonder. But here's the thing, if you're trying sincerely and honestly to pass on good energy and good vibes, and you're participating like you participate with me, in that we're trying to all achieve peace and honor and so forth in the universe, then, could you do anything more? Well, that's up to you. But if you were at least trying, that I'm not saying that's good enough, but don't cut yourself short because you say, well, it could be something else. But are you trying? Well, yeah, okay. Then you have to give yourself that respect and honor to yourself. At this particular time, with all the chaos and crap, are you doing the best you can? The answer, yeah. Okay, then you're good. Number five, have I forgotten to be grateful for my life, my possessions, my talents, my abilities, my health, my family, or my friends? Number six, is it time to make peace with another or to make peace with some inner conflict I have so that I may walk in balance again? Become Buffalo, feel the smoke of prayer, and praise change for Buffalo robe to white, so that you may be an answer to the prayers of the world. Now, see, you all give to me this ending because there have been many times I wasn't going to do a video tonight, right? So by doing the video and by doing these cards, I have become an answer to you, for you guys in whatever this reading is. So in a way, I am trying to be Buffalo. I hadn't been consciously thinking about this last line, but that you may be an answer to the prayers of the world. Somebody needs a card reading. Somebody needs to chat. Somebody's feeling lonely. Why do I get on in the middle of the night? Somebody wants to hang out. So, in a way, I am an answer. This chat room, this medium is an answer for you folk and anybody else. So, but each one of us has this opportunity. I keep mentioning this in that each one of us at any particular moment in time can change it. Wasn't going to do a video. I was just going to skip it, then it was going to be a short one. Here I am, almost 3 hours into this, Michelle. And, but these four cards, oh my God. Oh my gosh. So, it sort of kind of blowed me away. me pulling the cards, reading the cards, and seeing, oh my goodness gracious me. So honoring another person's path, even though we don't like it, doesn't mean that we can't. And I have discussed this with you all and some other folks too, my other friends, and I was like, hollering at somebody doesn't get them to change. That just makes them want to bow up and resist. So and I've been saying this for years to a bunch of folks, whoever will damn listen. You have to kill them with kindness. A Mayan witchy woman, shaman lady, medicine person, um, you, her, she said that in Mayan it was Shingakadita, and it means to kill them with kindness. So, in order that if you want to change your opponent's point of view, you show them by honor. You show them by, that you honor and respect other. You show by example. I was talking about it yesterday or whatever about being in jail. I got to be in lockup to, the lead man in the officer's dining room, in the time that I was in jail. And to some people, that never happens. And I was in charge of this, and then I went to that, then I graduated, all because I honored myself, number one, and I honored those people, even though they were guards, even though they were, the turnkeys. I treated them with respect, and they saw it. They read it, and that's how I got to where I was. It had nothing to do with brown nosing. But to some people, they would see it as brown nosing. Well, why are you doing such a good job? Because I'm proud of the work I do. But you're in jail. Why should you give a shit? That's because you don't understand. I'm proud. I don't care where I am. If I'm going to work on something, clean it or whatever, I'm going to do the best I can. I'm not going to do a half-assed job. Personally, it bothers me. So, but with that staying true to myself, it showed in the job that I did. So, but anyway, with that said, though, that's how it works in the universe. You do the best you can, and you go, well, that's good enough. Maybe not. Maybe you should take that extra little, wipe it one more time, or rinse the rag out one more time and wipe the surface of the counter, whatever it might be. I'm thinking of when we were cleaning the kitchens. Take a little, don't become an addict over it and OCD, but take that extra, wipe with a clean cloth or whatever, just to be sure, to give it that extra buff, to give it that extra but in the universe feels it, because now you didn't just do the job, you're proud of what you did, regardless of where you were. And being proud of doing a good job conveys to joy in the universe. Whether you're digging a ditch, you're pulling a tooth, you're, ripping out, splinters out of your hand, I don't know where I got that one from. But whatever it is in the universe that you do, do it well. Well, that's good enough. Yeah, that's a half-ass attitude. So in life, things are half-assed. So, but and that if you said, "Well, that's good enough," are you proud of that? Well, it's good enough. That's not what I asked. I asked you if you're proud of that. Well, then you're not really proud, are you? Now there are jobs that I've done as a carpenter, building, roofs and porches and fixing. I was really good at tearing out toilets and fixing bathrooms. And I could get in and out in a day and a half, depending on what with the final floor covering was. But I got really good at it, and I've worked on a lot of rental properties, but not the most fun thing I want to do. But I did get really good at it as far as being able to. Oh, that's a bathroom. Which way is the joist going? Okay, and just go from there. I could put stuff together and had the toilet out, floor back in, old floor out, blah blah blah, and I was done. Um, So I have just gotten to the toilet of spirituality where it's time to flush. Use our talents, use what we have, and look into outside sources when we really need to look within. Pulling these cards, I'm getting tired here, and it ain't gonna be no more 3 hours. Although it's been almost 3 hours, I'll hang out with you for 9 more minutes or whatever it is to make you, but Deanne, let's see. Good, Deanna G. If you're a loner, lots of us are loners, but that's okay. You can strike out of your shell at any time. And here's the thing. And Deanna, see, you're making a choice to get better at it. You're trying to break out of your shell. And just the idea that you want to is progress, you know. And so take it slow, be careful, but it's nice to know that, folks are doing better. Oceanic Ocean, organics. I feel like I was made to come down and hear the message. I think I got the download. Um, the only time I have, wait, I've been listening as I do quietly, was just drawing from what you were talking about, getting back to the grounding. I've just got a grounding sheet. Now I'm able to dream again. Teresa, Eagle is one of the divine messengers, but Raven is really the one. That's the true messenger if you're talking about the animal cards. Just by the way. You know what the best grounding mat is? The earth and your feet. Um, Sarah, you can soak your feet in salt water to ground, and Epsom salts is good, but not too much. Yep, lay on the ground. Yep, dig your feet in. Yep, all of those things. And sometimes the grounding mats are good up to a point, but sometimes on a natural level, you need to go out and touch the damn earth. You just need to go out and do it. You feet, hands, waller in it, do something, go play in the mud. But anyway, the only time I have my shoes off is in bed. I've spent so much time being disconnected. Uh, yeah, but here's the thing: grounding when you're sleeping, that's okay too. But the physical touching of the earth, it's organic. Just um, keep going. The grounding mat's good. Take your shoes off. If you don't take your shoes off, put your hands in the dirt at least. It's really important. And keep doing what you're doing, but also put your hands in the dirt. Talk about sacred synchronicity. I pulled Buffalo card as second card to the Blue Heron tonight. Interesting, eh, Teresa? Oops. Dang, thing scrolled. A dreamed eagle lead me to unification. That's interesting. Okay, it went back up too far. It keeps going back and come on now, go down this way. And Dan, I went to the woods yesterday and saw an eagle. My auntie passed away at 2:30 a.m. Thursday. Sorry about that. You don't have to know how much you and chat have helped. Proud to be here, honest to goodness. Isby, I wear mostly flip flops even in the winter. I'm there. I saw this guy years ago who went to work, worked in an office building, and he was like barefoot everywhere. Well, since I've been retired and at home a lot, I've got a pair of slip-on shoes and I've got some flip-flops, but I've been learning just to walk outside barefoot. And I used to do it as a kid, but there's all these other things are good, but there is, honest to God, being able to stand with your feet in the dirt there's something about it. 2 more hours. No. Thank you, Teresa. It was a good reading. I mean, boy, them cards. I'm going to be thinking about them for a couple of days. And Delaney, dadgummit, I keep going by what you were saying. Anyway. Katniss, blessings to you. Yeah, I'm fixing to get out of here. It's almost 3 hours. One more minute. Listen, I really do honestly love you. And with today and working outside and the prayers and having conversation and doing the readings earlier and pulling cards and stuff and reflecting back on my conversations with y'all, which my conversations with you folk are directed from the spirit. My experiences are mine and that's part of the story, but the message is not coming from me. I am the messenger. I'm the communicator. So whatever that I am able to relay, I am humbled daily, hourly sometimes, at the fact that I'm able to be here, to have these chats with you and that you all can interact with each other and that you feel comfortable here. You're sitting in my living room with me. And let me tell you, folks that come to my house, they say, wow, I just feel at home in your house. Well, see, you're in my house, sort of. So I've invited you into my home and we're sitting here around having a conversation. And so in that, you are comfortable. And I am grateful for that because if you come to my humble home, I would we'd have tea, coffee, um, uh, whatever. And since that you're not physically in the house, but you're in my house in this respect. And so I'm gracious to y'all for coming over and sitting on the front porch with me. You know what I mean? Honestly, um, I can't explain it enough. I know I sometimes it probably sounds a little sappy, but in talking with my friend today, I said, it there are times when we wonder whether or not we're doing mankind any good. And I said, I wake up in the morning, it's 4 in the morning, and I get online and talk about some crazy weird stuff, and somebody pops on and they go, wow, glad you're on. And you go, I'm not sure whether or not I'm listening to the universe, but the universe is damn sure talking to me, going, you should have conversation. Somebody out there needs a card pulled tonight. Okay. So, and the interesting part about this manifestation of your powers, if I had ignored that tonight, I would not have had this wonderful, session with you folk. So if you don't act on what feels right to you, and believe me, I'm tired and sore tonight. We did a lot of work today, moved some heavy stuff, took care of some things. Thank you, Jesus, kind of thing, and was able to fellowship as well while working, and being outside, etc. But the idea, though, that we as a family seem to grow a little closer together each time, because whether or not we agree on everything, we respect each other. And, there is no condescending of you're an idiot or blah, blah. We don't do that here. And, the folks who have subscribed and joined over the years, they come in to this channel to hang out with us with that kind of intent. Many of you know that, when you come in, you're welcomed with open arms. And so, and your behavior proves that you belong with us in that, we can share thoughts and ideas and our prayers and, without calling each other buttholes and names and morons, and you know what I'm talking about. And I find that for myself to be worth 1 million subscribers. You folks show up to participate, to listen, and to understand, and hang out, and the rest is up to the universe. And I thank you for your participation. I really do. So I made it over 3 hours. Dun, 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 dun. I was yakking some more just to get there. Amanda, I'm glad I actually get to watch live with all of you. See, and I'm glad that somebody on the other side of the planet is able to, hang out with us. You sent a dream story an email. I don't think I checked email today. I'm honest to goodness, it's been a good day. I'm not going to be able to walk tomorrow, but um, I'll check my emails. Yeah, when I get done yakking with y'all. Deanna, thank you, Hawkeye. The cards first. Okay. See, don't feed the fruitcakes. We eat the fruitcakes. I was talking with somebody the other night, and they actually like, "Do you like fruitcake?" And I was like, "If it's a decent fruitcake, yeah." ESB3 mine. We like that you come in and share with us. Thank you. Duggar sleeping away. Yes, he is. I fed him good. He had some pork chop tonight, and then I fed him some other stuff, and he had the leftover chicken and rice from yesterday, and you know, and he's been out in the woods and running and playing and just having a good time. He's tired tonight. There was none of this. Come on, let's play ball in the house. Thank you, David. Make tomorrow as awesome as you wish. Yes. And remember, every second of every minute of every day, sometimes all you have to do is put a smile out into the universe. Those are positive things. But there are a lot of people that are, getting fed up with this. We've had enough. And, you know, this idea that, we were ETs that said we were already going to be in some kind of utopian world by now. Listen, okay. And if it happens, I'll be gracious. But let's be grateful for what we have at the moment, Buffalo. And let's honor and make sure we honor grandfather. And this idea of grandfather, grandmother, this grandfather sky, grandfather, listen, to all of those who have come before us, whoever they were, to help make this planet what it is today. Some of them we wish they hadn't, but to the point though, we honored those who come before us. The day after Thanksgiving, after Halloween is the Day of the Dead, All Saints Day, we honor those, and they're in different cultures. There are times when we honor those who have passed before, we give honor to them, and praise and prayer. Again, there's no mention of worship in any of this stuff. So, and all you got to do is look up to the sky and say, thank you to all of the above. And it will include whatever you mean in your mind. And all you have to do is look up and just say thank you. Okay. It's as simple as that. Not complicated. You can say a prayer, but all you got to do is just say thank you. Anyway. I'll be back. I feel better tonight than I've felt in 2 months. Well, that's a good thing, Isby. Deanna, before I go, I just stopped by a lady and she said, the angels call me Grace and that my light shines so bright. And what was one of the cards? Swan. What was the topic? Grace. Is there synchronicity in the universe? Just saying. So to Sarah, Teresa, Deanna, it's good to see you in the chat. Isby, as always, Michelle, well, what we couldn't do. And Teresa, yeah, Teresa, I'll get some rest tomorrow. It's going to be college football. I'm sorry, I like college football, having played football in high school and all. Katniss, if you're still there, Sleep well. Have a great weekend. Sarah, we enjoy your company too. And thank you for showing up. I mean that from the bottom of my heart. Um, got a bunch of fruitcakes living around me, NPCs all the way. Uh, if there's somebody else out there I have missed, what a we all was video chatting. Yeah, I'm going to see about working on that. Um, but that part of my brain I'm still having issues with. So, but anyway, I'll check the emails from you and Michelle, and Isby, I do have your number. Are you Kentucky? And I probably lost your number. The all the numbers in my phone went whacked. So if you're Kentucky, I think I know what you're talking about, but I don't have your number. Do you still have mine? Don't call me now, but call me tomorrow or something, and we can chat. And I'll write it back down because I've lost your number. Yes, I am absolutely eternally grateful, Michelle, um, along with you, and for showing up and being and see, you folks are sharing stuff, and by you sharing, other people are picking stuff up, and other, it's spreading. It's really quiet and it's subtle. We're killing them with kindness. I had it programmed in mind, but but my phone went offline and they were working on the phone lines. I see it again. I forgot how nice it is to share and make friends. You're absolutely welcome. So with that, I'm out of here. I do have a back cramp from all the lifting and doing and stuff today, and I do have to potty. It's been 3 hours. So my blessings to you. Have a great weekend, my friends. And as always, I continue to pray that each and every day, that each and every one of you will continue to learn how to accept and receive the knowledge, the healing, the wisdom, and the blessings from the universe. All those things are blessings, by the way. But anyway, I continue to pray that each and every day, each and every one of you, your friends, your family, all of your relatives, and all of your relations, past, present, and to come, will learn to accept and receive the knowledge, the healing, the wisdom, and those blessings from the universe. And is that law of three? I continue to pray that each and every one of you will continue to learn how to accept, receive, and to continue to share the knowledge and the healing and the wisdom from the universe. And those are all blessings. And I also, to toss this in as a side note, I continue to pray that you all find the strength to reject the chaos that comes into your life. So, positive things. And one way or the other, even if Biden wins this, we shall survive this. We'll learn how. We'll figure it out. And but we'll make it. We made it through all these other crazy people. We'll figure it out, right? So, but anyway, until next time, Isby, David Castle, always thank you. Katniss, Sarah Horton, there you are. Michelle, as always. Adios, my friends, my mi amigos and mi amigas, and Teresa as well. Um, I'm sorry I didn't make it to your thing tonight. I was out with the fire that I had to keep an eye on. Actually, 2 fires, but everything's cool. Anyway, um, until next time, be safe, please. And from South Georgia, as always, TTFN. Ta-ta for now. Okay, Isby.